Marcus, the compiler of a collection of therapy quotes titled 1001 Windmills of the Mind, a collection of advanced self-help quotes to help one stop feeling like a constant tourist to themselves.
Forehead it says, look but don't touch, taste but don't swallow. My heart has been your playground. You never ask, you never apologize. I was standing upside powerless, watching you fade away. You've always been out of reach. By your side, I always felt stuck in a waiting room. Did never catch the train another land. I was running without leaving. I canceled doors I had been in your world.
A constant tourist I have been in your world, she sings. A song called Constant Tourist by the Swiss band called Lunik. Lunik, the lead singer's Miss Jael, Jael. Very good song, I think. So, we don't want to, or I think it's fair to say I don't want to feel like a constant tourist to myself. I don't want to feel alienated from myself. I want to feel more connected with myself. And that's the whole project, that in childhood trauma, we might feel kind of alienated from ourselves. So the totality of the self, all of us that we know, well, a huge part of it is strange to us. That's the authentic self, the embodiment, the home within, the beingness quality, symbolized in myths and fairy tales like Snow White, Rapunzel. The maiden king turns to a swan and flies away. Echo is in the forest, turns to a statue, turns to stone. These images refer to the phenomena that the authentic self of a person, a part of the person called the authentic self, meaning the beingness quality. Lou Graham calls it the midnight blue, the beingness quality. And you feel embodied and you make sense like that. In childhood trauma, that becomes unavailable to us. The jargon is flat affect. Okay, one symbol is the pin goes in the collar and the person feels kind of flat under the collar like that. Meaning the metaphor means we don't feel fully at home within, alive within. The emotional body doesn't feel alive, we don't have that hum kind of thing. Oh yes, we feel pain and sensations and anxiety and stress response. And of course, we feel that kind of stuff related to survival issues. But the feeling self, the ontological self, the sense of self, the embodiment self, it's mainly joy runs the console. By the way, total new experiment here. This is my first time in 4+ years to try a phone hands-free, because when I bought this new budget phone that I'm using, they threw in a little plastic phone holder, so I had to give it a try. I can't quite get the angle. That's the best angle I can get here. So just an experiment, see how it goes. I'm still having audio problems with this new phone. I'm using a real new budget phone. My regular one kind of died on me, so I'm trying different ways to see if the audio can resolve itself somehow. So I took out the SIM chip. I took off, stopped the data thing, whatever. Make sure there's no internet. Because when I play it back, it sounds like it's a distant phone call kind of thing through the internet or something. So there's like waves and little echoes and little skips, and the volume kind of rises and lows, kind of waves a bit, and little gaps like that. What's going on with the audio? I can't figure it out. I wrote to the company, no answer. So I'm just trying out different things with each video. So I gotta, make sure you don't want to block the microphone, of course. So you remove the plastic cover thing, and then I tried to turn off everything on the phone. I removed every possible app I can. I kept it as minimalist as I can, and sure enough, I'm still getting this audio feedback, this delayed, skipped, wavy, muffled sound like that. So this time, I just reset the phone altogether. Just hit reset and see if by chance, when this video is over, I'll play it back, see if it's any better. If not, I give up. I'm going to take the thing back and get the refund kind of thing. It's ridiculous. It's a budget phone, but it shouldn't be so bad where you can't even make a film anymore, right? So the past few videos, the audio hasn't been clear. They're good videos, I thought. Actually, I was kind of energized with some interesting quotes and played some music and all that. But the quality wasn't bad. So let's see how it goes this time around. Okay, so one recent quote we had was let's see if I remember correctly, that therapy is about getting ourselves back to ourselves, like finding ourselves, getting ourselves back to ourselves. Or another way of saying it was, you want the soul to come back into your body. That's the most vivid one, right? You want your soul to come back into your body. Like, wow, right? So your beingness is also called the soul. In psychology, they simply, when psychology uses the word soul, they mean your beingness, your home within, your embodiment, your sense of self, your ontological self, your feeling self, that kind of an inner kind of place where you feel at home within, and you feel your beingness quality, and you have your golden ball, you have your pleasant feelings, you have the capacity to mourn. Okay, you feel pleasant, you know your interests, which you can express, and there's like a meaning and a pleasure and the blue jay of happiness. Shirley Temple calls it, comes from that. So you can feel the presentness of the present. And when you have your golden ball in your beingness, you're naturally ethical and moral and virtuous. So you have empathy, and you can make amends, and you can communicate, can make I statements, you can be wonder, and you see things three-dimensionality, in a three-dimensional way, vertically thinking, Robert Bly calls it. You see the third side of the coin. You see the both and of a situation. You see the diamond of different facets. You don't split things up, either or, oppositional, adversarial, either or, jungle slogan, my greedy Europe. You don't see things in this really, really archaic, desperate mentation that the baby develops when he's traumatized. He splits things up. See, the splitting mechanism is kind of the psychic splitting sort of at the core of oppositional thinking, jungle slogan thinking, either or thinking. Because when the baby's feeding, it is heaven or hell for the baby. It is an either or for the baby. If his needs met, he's in paradise. He needs the paradise. Needs unmet, he's terrified. He feels shame. That's the emotion. Okay, shame is a burning, biting feeling. It's a symbol as hell. So he feels like he's in hell like that. And the mother's a monster, a guy with the horns or something, a sea monster, an alien, a guy with, the boar queen, a cyclops, some kind of frightening entity like that. So it's kind of either or. So he can't link them. He has to separate them as psychic splitting. So we're not saying the mother's like that. We're saying that he creates a picture to represent how he feels when he relates with the mother. And that picture then becomes his mother. And if he thinks his mother's a boar queen, yikes, he can't know that. He can't admit that. He'd be flooded with adrenaline, flooded with a stress response. His body will go kaput. His mind would space out. He couldn't do it. So he'd have to do a little trick in the mind called psychic splitting. He denies that the mother is a sea monster or whatever, fill in the blank. Okay, and then to compensate, you make up what you need. The baby hallucinates a divine, supreme, beautiful, lovely goddess who's present, who's reliable, unconditional love, and meets your needs like that. And then you think that's your mother. It's a trick of the mind to make you feel safe, to take in the powdered stuff, even though mother's hurting you while she's feeding or doing it in a rough way or rough handling the baby. No, mother's not a monster. Mother's not dangerous. Mother's not a frightening entity. She's a beautiful thing. So that's called psychic splitting. Now, if that's still going on post that critical time, the theory is it might be there for a few weeks in the beginning because no mother's perfect. The baby adjusts to that with the splitting mechanism. But assuming the mother is generally loving, it gets sorted out and he can resume development. But he can't resume development if he maintains the splitting. Splitting precludes development. Splitting prevents development. Because development means the baby's got to relate to a loving mother, and he has to feel safe with a mother who's a person with various aspects which he can tolerate and handle the ambiguity of the mother not being perfect but still loving, quote unquote, good enough. Then he can develop and differentiate and be distinct and hatch out of the oneness that's originally there. But splitting will prevent that. If the baby thinks the mother's some kind of goddess or demon, well, there's no human there. How do there's no person to feel human love to differentiate. You're dealing with this delusional stuff in your mind. It's called primary process thinking, primary mentation, Alice in Wonderland mentation. And that's what all myths and fairy tales are about. Myths and fairy tales are productions of this primary mentation. So the baby's dealing in this myth and fairy tale kind of imagination like that. So if the baby does have to split, let's say, and he doesn't get a chance to resolve it, and he has to still maintain using it because the mother's consistently malatune, consistently hurting him, shaming him, not being, the mother might not, the mother herself might not have the psychic structure that she needs to love a baby, i.e., she never left her mother. She never differentiated from her mother. She never felt safe with her mother to be herself. You need a self to love. Who loves? A person loves. The mother says, I love. But where's the I? The mother doesn't have that authentic I. She can't love. This fake stuff is just bitterness and greed and envy and survival struggles. So she might be in that kind of mode. Hence, in fairy tales, the mother suddenly turns into a wicked stepmother. In fairy tales, when they say the mother died and now there's a stepmother, it's the same woman. It's just that in the uterus, mother was loving. So you got the good mother. But at birth, she died. And then, they make it up that the guy married another woman and there's a stepmother. It's not like that. It's the image poofs and shifts in the primary mutations. You got the loving mother, poof, wicked witch. So it's and now the good mother is a distant memory represented like a ghost or a spirit, like a fairy godmother or some kind of angel somewhere like that. And she might appear sometimes under immense stress to give you support and encouragement. But the baby's mainly dealing with a mother who is impaired and who doesn't have the capacity to love. That means she's narcissistic or she's bullying, has a stinger personality pattern, misattuned. From the baby's perspective, the mother's a wicked witch who's filled with envy and ennui and hate and spite and vindictiveness. She feels entitled and she hates the goodness of the baby. And she, like what the witch says, come on, monkeys, get her, get Dorothy. So that means that's code for when a mother um, needs to um, first of all destroy the goodness because her goodness was destroyed, and then when the mother destroys the child's goodness, the child will be desperate to see the mother in a positive light for their survival. She'll take that, co-opt that, and translate that for her and interpret that for her as her feeling important, her feeling seen, her feeling special, that the child is giving her what's called narcissistic supply. So the mother's looking for this kind of capacity to be at the center of the attention where it's all about her and she's entitled to get this positive regard by the baby to the mother, and she's trying to use the baby as the missing mother from her past. That mother didn't get what she needed back with her mother. She has a compulsion to get that unconscious hope for the fulfillment of all unfulfilled needs. So enter the baby. Oh, baby, my mother didn't soothe me. My mother didn't give me the oneness, the blissful time of oneness, where we were one, and she fed me and saw me and soothed me and comforted me and made me feel safe, so I can develop and be myself. I never got that. So, baby, you're going to do that. And poor baby might say, Mother, hold the phone here. I'm your baby who needs your love. Mother's blind to that. Yes, materially, she understands that baby's her baby, but her motivation, her unconscious drive, Bergler calls it like this unconscious grand design of hers, is that she needs to get mother's love. So she's going to parentify the baby. So she intuitively knows that if she hurts the baby, um, that the baby will engage in splitting. And so the more of a monster the baby sees the mother, the more he's got to compensate and see her as a beautiful, supreme being like that. And that's what the mother wants. So she wants to siphon that kind of a positive regard by the baby. So the child can't develop himself like this. The child can't go through any kind of developmental process if he's got to use splitting to please the mother, And what the mother does is has the baby and says, "Hey, oh baby, oh you want to be on your own, you want to be independent, you want to be yourself, you want to have like your autonomy like that. No, I made you to find me." And the poet Anne Sexton has a line in there. She said, the mother said to the baby, "I made you, baby, to find me. See, baby, I didn't get love from my mother. I made you to be a mother for me so I can find myself. I'm going to use you as a secure base. I'm going to use you so I don't feel alone. I'll use you as a source of safety and comfort. And then from that, I'll find myself. I made you to find me." And the poor baby's saying, that's not how it works. You're turning things around here. Mothers are meant to love the babies so they can find themselves. Mothers don't make babies to turn the babies into mothers so the mothers can find themselves. But if the mother is traumatized, if she is impaired, she's got this compulsion. She's got this blind, angry, entitled, kind of very strong, like witch, like, angry, kind of entitled sense, because she's coming from a place where all babies devote all their energy and life force to find the mother, to latch onto the mother. And that's Fairbairn's famous line: life force is object seeking. All the baby's life force is searching for the mother to latch on and create a rhythm of safety like that. So if that's failed, if that drive is kind of still going on like that, it's in a part of the brain, doesn't know time. The need is still there, it doesn't know time, it's timeless, it's pushing like that. Enter the compulsion, it's constraint, it's compulsion. So mother as a baby, she's got this compulsion, this constraint. Come on, baby, you be the missing mother. Now it's only symbolic, but she doesn't know the baby can't be the mother in the past. She doesn't care. She can't think like that. She can't see reality. She's got to keep the hope alive. She's got to keep some kind of relentless compulsion hope that one day she'll get, someday, one day she'll get mother's love in the past. So she'll symbolize in her unconscious that the baby's the breast, her mother, and the baby's going to attend to her, never let her feel alone, respond to her, think well of her, listen to her, do what she says. So she feels at the center. So the mother wants to make everything about her. She's entitled, it's all about her, and she's entitled, and she twists everything to make it about her. That's called narcissistic supply. So she's going to use her own baby for narcissistic supply. And it's kind of sad that women have to do this horrible thing because they've got this pain and this compulsion to get mother's love. So the baby comes on the scene. They don't see the baby as as a human who has needs for their mother, because the mother herself never had her needs, and she's enraged like this. So she's got this compulsion to get mother. So baby comes in, baby, I'm sorry, I can't see you as I can't meet your needs. I never got my needs met. I don't have, I'm impaired. I'm impaired. I don't have the psychic structure to love you. I've got this pain with my mother. So I'm looking for supply from my mother. I'm looking for the oneness with my mother. I never got that period of blissful oneness. So all babies need a period of blissful oneness. So what's that? The phone. I'm using my old phone. If I use the battery, if I plug in the battery and plug in this thing, I might be able to play some songs. So this was my original phone, a great little phone. I've used this for years, and all of the videos, except for the past few, were done on this little budget phone. Light as a feather, fits in your pocket easily, very minimalist kind of phone. Dropped it many times. It suffered the elements and it held up. It's a great little phone. This is an unbelievable phone. Really sturdy, and they don't make these anymore. It's called, does it show up there? It's called the Honor 8S. I was trying to get a secondhand one of these or something, but fair enough. It's got to end at some point. So at this point, I'm just going to use it for music. So I got to plug it in the battery, and then this is for the speaker layer. So I might still use it like that. It's a pity because no one can fix it. No one knows how to fix it. It overheats. The storage goes kaput. The battery goes kaput. All these problems. So it was time to get a new phone. So I went to the shop there, and I wanted to get a new Honor, the new Honor, the magic one, the V3 magic one. The price is quite high. So they had this discount bargain bin kind of thing in the corner, kind of thing, clearance sale or something. Really budget phone, these big clunkers. So this one I'm using now that I'm looking at, it's like it's much taller than this. It's much wider, and it's probably 3 times thicker than this, and it's 3 times heavier. I would say it's about 3 times heavier. It's a big old clunker, and I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that I'd have such issues with the audio, and the camera works fine, and other things work fine, but just the thing with the audio. So when I play something back, you hear a skipping and a wave, a little echo, a little. It's hard to hear. You have to strain to hear it. So let's see if this resetting thing that I just did before starting this video has an effect or not. But I really miss this phone. What a great phone. I really wish they just stuck with this, made this light as a feather, fits in your pocket. Great little phone. 3 continents, over 1,000 videos, 10,000 quotes just from this little phone. Somebody called it a kid's phone. It's just so basic, but it was excellent. No, just until the end had some problems. But oh yeah, when I And this thing keeps turning up. The music, the speaker thing turns off all the time. Got to keep setting it up. So why don't we finish with Constant Tourist? Should we just do it now? Yeah, okay. Let's finish up the song Constant Tourist by Lunik.
You're my deepest cut.
See the song, she's saying to the fellow, gee, fellow, we never connect. There's no warmth here. There's no connection here. There's no intimacy or affection. You're kind of cold and you're kind of walled off like that. I kind of feel like we're never at home or anything. Like I feel like a constant tourist with you, like I'm supposed to go away or something. Well, that's code for her to know that that's how she felt with the mother. The trauma she felt with the mother, she forgot, so she recreates it by choosing a parent copy to know the past. We recreate repetition compulsion, what happened in the past to know the past. And once you know the past, get the memory feeling, okay? Now know what you couldn't know, feel what you couldn't have felt, get the ab reaction, the pin pops out. If you get your feelings back, you stop repeating. So we repeat to get the story. That's Mr. Freud's most famous essay, memory, repeating, working through. We don't remember the trauma. So we repeat, okay, kind of like trying to remember, hoping to remember. If we repeat the thing, it's an attempt by us to remember. It's our unconscious saying to the conscious, hey, conscious, look how I got you to choose this cold person in the song here. Well, your mother was cold. I'm communicating to you. Can you admit that and then feel it? And then you don't have to do that anymore.
The wound doesn't bleed anymore. Now the scar hurts. Oh, I was standing outside powerless, watching you fade away. You've always been.
Did she say power? I feel powerless or something. I can't do anything about it. I try to connect with you. I always feel powerless. Well, if that's what she said, the baby felt powerless. Baby's trying to connect with the mother. The baby's very powerless. If that's what she said, then that's really quite clear that the baby felt powerless, recreates a narcissistic fellow, a cold fellow, and it's going to feel powerless again. But that's for her to know. And now she's feeling what she felt back then, but forgot, recreates it to now feel what she couldn't have felt. She got to make the links like that what she's feeling now is in reference to the past. If she can make that link, you see, and then that's a huge step towards not needing to repeat. See, the compulsion is she's going to choose a man who's like the mother if she's got a problem with the mother. No, actually, sorry. Hang on. If the daughter is the firstborn, if the couple has a kid, if the first kid's a daughter, okay, she's going to role model herself after the father. Meaning, when she grows up, she'll choose a man with the personality. Right? Like her father chose a woman with a certain personality, right? She's going to role model after him and choose like him. So she'll choose a man with the same personality of the woman her father chose. You put it this way: if the first, this is Anne Teachworth's theory. So if the first child is a daughter, right? They role model after the opposite one, the opposite gender. So she'll role model herself in terms of the couple imprint and recreating the imprint, because you're going to recreate in the present and past because it's still in the past. So you got to recreate it. So she'll play one. She'll play the father. It's we mean personality wise. So she'll play the father in terms of personality, meaning she's going to role model or admire the father somehow. But if that's the case, when she grows up herself, she's got to choose the way her father chose. So she'll end up with a husband just like her mother. Now, if that was a dysfunctional home, that means she's going to get a man who it's also going to be dysfunctional. She's going to recreate it. If the imprint in the daughter's mind is that the father was dysfunctional, the mother was dysfunctional, and let's say they were opposites. Let's say he was quiet. Let's say he was kind of reserved or a thinker or something like that. Let's say and then she was the demanding, hysterical type. Just typical. I know it's stereotypical, but just to lay the example down. So let's say she didn't like the mother being so demanding and possessive and angry and all the time, and the father was maybe a little detached or something. So let's say she quote unquote, if the theory is the first child will model after the father. So when she grows up, she'll choose how he chose. So if he chose a demanding wife, that means she will choose a demanding or narcissistic um, husband. Now, in the case of the song, um, her mother was aloof, right? Aloof. So that if her father chose an aloof woman, that means when she grows up, she'll choose a man with the same aloof personality as her mother. Okay, so she'll do that. Okay, like the song says, "Gee, you're so aloof. I always feel like a constant tourist here." Um, that's because she's going by this imprint and she's not aware of the imprint, and the imprint is a trauma. And you didn't get your needs met. The child didn't get his needs met to see a healthy role model parents, because when the child grows up, the child sees how the parents relate to each other, right? That's an imprint. They're going to go by that. They'll identify with one and choose how the other one chose. So she recreates it because it's not, it doesn't grow and blossom. It's just set like that. It's a dysfunctional home. So you can recreate the dysfunction because she hasn't left that home. It's unresolved. It's unfinished business. It's painful. Yes, it's familiar. But the word familiar, the first part of the word familiar comes from familial, family. The second part, liar, all the lies. So she didn't get her needs met due to the duplicity and the flammery and the dysfunction with the family. So she recreates it because she hasn't left it. Now she may consciously say to herself, gee, when I grow up, I want an emotionally available man. She may consciously wish to have like an open, communicative, friendly, warm-hearted man that she can share and discuss things with and talk about the film and talk honestly, openly with each other and understand each other, have a mutual fountain of love experience, a mutual growth experience. She may want that kind of positive feedback loop with the fellow. She may consciously wish for this kind of mate, let's say. But the unconscious, the, the constraint and the compulsion is to find a mate. Okay? The mate she's going to get, the perfect match she's going to get, is for the past. So she'll be attracted to a man who's aloof if her mother was aloof, because her father chose that aloof woman and she role models after him. Okay, so in this song, Constant Tourist, she's not aware of this. She's trying to be aware of it. If there were a sequel to this song, if there were like a follow-up song, Constant Tourist 2 or something, the song would say, oh yeah, in the first song, I just blindly chose a man who was cold because my mother, now I know why. And here's part two. Now I know why. Listen to part two. And part two, because my mother was cold. It's really quite explainable. It's really quite explainable. My mother was emotionally unavailable, so she'll choose emotionally unavailable men. And she'll say in the song, I'm inspired by Katie Lee's song. It must be something psychological, because that's what Katie Lee also says in her song by that title. Must be something psychological. Constant Tourist.
I know by your side, I always feel stuck in a waiting room.
Stuck in the waiting room. That's an image like that. I'm always stuck in the waiting room here. I can't enter into your heart, love world. You're always putting me outside in the waiting room. Yeah, that's a pretty clear image, right? When we're relating, when I'm dating, I feel like you're putting me in the waiting room. I've never like really connected with you, right? So that means the child had an avoidant. That means the bond, the secure, warm bond wasn't established with the mother. The mother put the child in the waiting room, put him in the crib like that. You go in the waiting room, you go in the crib or something. Nonsense. The baby needs a blissful oneness with the mother, a warmth and a safety and a tenderness and a sweetness and a home like that, a loving intimacy like that. Baby needs this affection and tenderness. That's going to be broken, by the way, at birth if they remove the cord and the placenta. The cord and the placenta are the bridge to the mother. If the child loses that, if he loses the bridge, he feels like he lost his mother, he'll freeze up. He'll freeze up. And then when the babies return, there won't be, the mother will misunderstand the signals because the rapport got broken and the child's frozen up. She won't understand the signals. And because what's missing is the child's meant to have a continuous connection of attunement with the mother. It was there in the uterus, usually. Baby, cord, placenta, mother, mother, placenta, cord, baby, cord, placenta, mother, do, re, mi, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Look, it flows, it smooths, and all this. That's meant to continue in the transition from the water world to the land world. So when the baby comes out, the cord's supposed to stay. The placenta stays. Baby, you don't remove the baby or the cord or placenta. You just keep everything intact. It's called the lotus birth. Lotus flower, stem, pod, baby, cord, placenta. Keep it all intact. Indigenous people, we've been doing it for forever. It's only a recent phenomenon. In order to pillage, you have to traumatize the babies. Don't hold a sec. Okay. If some people pass in front of me, I might have to pause for a sec here. Okay. Luckily, I bounce around at my venues. Like I'll go once to the hotel there. Like yesterday, the nice place was Sunday, so I'll go there maybe if it's available. The best chance I have for getting that nice room that I had yesterday is on Sunday, so I usually try there on Sunday. And then I've got like 3 other kind of options that I bounce around. So I've got sort of 4 venues at the moment where I kind of circle around roughly once a week kind of thing, each venue. The waiting room, right? Yeah, okay. So the baby doesn't expect to come out of the uterus and then put into the waiting room. Come on. Waiting. Where's the mother? He froze up inside, feels abandoned, petrified, turned to stone. Okay, the soul flies away. Okay, the soul turns to stone. Okay, meaning Echo becomes a statue in the forest. Okay, Faithful John becomes a statue in the forest. That's a symbol to represent this. Okay, and the pin goes on the collar, meaning you feel numb like that. Okay, that's called flat affect. Okay, the official term is athimoalexia, no feelings for your words. In 73, Peter Sifinos tried to vary it by twisting it, by calling it alexithymia, no words for your feelings. Well, of course, if your feelings are frozen, where do you find the words for it? Well, there's no feelings for your whatever words you may have. So it's kind of linked like that. Right, okay, so baby comes out of uterus. He's betrayed. It's a huge betrayal to put him away on a scale, remove the cord, remove the bridge to the mother. The placenta and the cord are still pulsating, still oxygen, food, nutrients. The indigenous people regard the placenta and the cord like the child's spiritual source and nourishment and power source and connection to the world like that, because it connects them to the mother. The mother's the world for the baby. And you remove all that, Jesus Christ. The only time you're ever allowed to maybe possibly remove the cord prematurely is after the blood flow is completed. And then the cord turns white and flattens out like a pancake. Then maybe it might be okay. Because by that time, the child will have established the paradise and the Garden of Eden and the Shambhala and the paradise and the unico mystica with the mother, the symbiosis and the merging with the mother. By that time, because that'll take a couple of days for that to happen. If the cord's still reddish or bluish or purplish or still setting blood, still kind of round, any kind of color like that, a bloodish color, you got to leave it like that. Jesus Christ. If you see they, in part of the pillage and plunder, they remove it. Then later on, the child's looking, where's my placenta? That's like everything for him. That's like linked to the mother, right? Where's that? So later on, they scoop these people, go to this building here, and the speaker at the podium will tell you where to find your placenta. He doesn't use the word phantom placenta. He doesn't say those words, phantom placenta, but he'll say, oh, in the sky, there's a powerful source. It'll feed you and nourish you and give you what you need. It's unconditional. And you're going to express your anger. It'll accept and give you the love. Yeah, that's what happens. The baby gets the love from the center vein, sends out the waste through the other veins up to the placenta. 3 veins in the cord, 1 straight down, 2 up, right? Look at the symbol for the medical profession, the famous Seducius medical symbol. The staff is the center vein, the snakes that spiral up, that's the 2 veins that go up from the baby to the placenta. So baby gets all the goodness down the center vein, he sends up the waste up the other veins, and the placenta does what it does, clarifies it out, metabolizes it, processes it, cleanses it all out, does what it's supposed to do, right? Now, this dynamic continues in the first 4 to 5 months in particular, because in the feeding, the mother does the same thing. Mother sends all the nourishment, the soothing, the sweetness, the reverie, the consideration, the positive regard. And she sees the child, hears the child feels seen, child feels heard, mirrored, or accepted, sees mother, accepts him, he accepts himself. Mother soothes him, he can soothe himself. How the mother treats him, he'll treat himself. Baby's laying down, manically laying down neurocircuitry by the interaction with the mother. So he needs that kind of mother's understanding. He'll understand himself. Mother has consideration. He'll have consideration for himself. How the mother treats him, he wires it and treats it himself. It becomes part of him, treats himself like that. So he needs, so when he's feeding, it's not just food. He needs that emotional experience, psychological experience of that. Now, whatever distress the baby sends out, the mother can handle it. She can absorb it and return love. So she can digest it psychologically, emotionally, physically, and send love. She's a grand woman from the baby's perspective. She can handle the baby's little distress like that. So this kind of thing goes on like that. So the speak at the podium, they do two things. First, they, as I understand it, based on Lloyd Damas and others, they'll describe the phantom placenta, but they won't use the word phantom placenta, but they'll describe what it does for the baby. Okay? And then they blur it over, condensation, they'll flip it over to how important the breastfeeding is for the baby. But they won't use the phantom breast words. Okay, they'll use some powerful entity, invisible thing in the sky, what else? Something like that. And then what they're trying to do is prevent you from healing. Because what the child did was, what the adult's going to do is not mourn if they still look for that. Oh, I found it. Just imagine a line to invisible power like that, and be poetic, be suggestive, use a little hypnosis, use a little poetry, use a little emotion or something. The idea is to, appeal to that missing yearning, to appeal to that longing like that. And it might trigger up, some charismatic speakers might be able to trigger up a blip of what you felt in the uterus. And you go, whoa, that's amazing. Now you had that, but you forgot it, but he can trigger it up. He doesn't create anything new. He blips up something old. You go, wow, oh, do you like that? You're a believer, put money in a basket. Kind of. That's just part A. Part B is to maintain the splitting, because if you always idealize like that, then you just create stories of good and bad, good and bad. That maintains the trauma. If you always think in these either or, adversarial, oppositional, me good, you, these kind of my greed, your greed, one's good, no good, prejudice thinking. Okay, that's why the trauma was created, to create prejudice, and the gambit of religion in terms of when it's being used in order to pillage and plunder is promote prejudice. So the trauma creates prejudice. Religion says maintain it, don't heal it. So the purpose of religion is to prevent the natural desire for healing. So keep the prejudice. Just keep either or thinking. Just keep either or thinking. Just misuse and co-opt fairy tales and talk about the dreams that represent psychological trauma, and just concretize it. Oh yeah, there's a good one there, there's a bad one there. It's separate like this. Battle between good, this kind of nonsense. So they're co-opting myths and fairy tales and not interpreting it for you by telling you that that's the imagery of splitting that the child engages in to cope with the frustrating mother. Now, the mother's frustrating for the baby. If the baby's removed, if the cord's removed, of course she's very frustrating. So he freezes up his soul. Mother's a monster. No, it's got to be a good one. And then now what's going to happen is a thing called repetition compulsion, as above, so below. The child's going to think that some invisible thing robbed him of his inner home, his embodiment, okay, his beingness, his home. The mother was a robber baron. The mother was a short seller. Okay, the mother plundered him, so to speak. Okay, he thought he was robbed like that. He was pillaged like that. So in a severe trauma, what the baby does is called make the Faustian deal, the Faustian bargain, the Faustian pact. It's known as identification with the aggressor. So because of the pain of it all, if the pain is too much, the child says, I can't do this anymore. Mother shaming me, mother plundering me. Why don't I just plunder myself? I'll feel some kind of pride like that. So let me do the plundering. I'll be active or something. But he sells his soul. He's got to treat himself the way they treated him. So he'll flip over and identify with the aggressor and shame himself the way his mother shamed him. But at least he has a mother like that. And he gets this pyrrhic feeling of a little pride because he's the active one instead of being passive like that. But he's got to hurt himself. Now what? He's hurting himself. Okay, enter scapegoating, prejudice, blaming, externalization, outer living, outer focus. It's very outer focus. So he's got to find proxies or people outside of him whom he'll see as him. Okay, and in the repetition compulsion, others will play him. He plays the mother. Mother plundered his home, his embodiment, sense of home within. Okay, mother took that away. He becomes that. If he sees land out, whatever, he'll become the plunderer and the pillager because he identified with the aggressor. Repetition compulsion. If there's land out there, whatever, they say it's mine because that's what mother did to them. So the psychic structure needed to pillage and plunder is let the baby believe his mother pillaged his soul, plundered his soul, and was a short seller. Short selling, you profit by destroying something, you get a quick buck or something. Mother got a moment of relief when she hurt the baby because she was looking for supply like that. So he identifies as the aggressor. Repetition compulsion. The land out there, whatever, that's his innocence, pure innocence. No, take it because mother took it in him. As above, so below. So as above, so below. The outer behavior sociologically is a reflection of our inner state. So children are given this inner state of this trauma, so they have the psychology to pillage. So now because of the innate drive for healing that's going on, the plunderer said, "Wait a minute, we don't want people to heal. How do we plunder and pillage if people heal? If people have the feelings and their ethics and morality and we're all a family, how do we pillage? Well, prevent this. Hey, what's with all these storytellers and fairy tales? What's all that about? Oh, we'll co-opt that, make some, twist it a bit, make some stories, but present it in a way that perpetuates the blissful feeling um, that you once had in the uterus, where you felt so special and blissful oneness. So, um, and then so you preempt the healing of the fairy tales by focusing on how, hey, you as a baby thought your mother was a goddess. There's a goddess. Imagine that, and then we feel good. Then you distract people from healing if they're addicted to looking for the blip of oneness they felt in the uterus. So they're addicted like that. But the real issue is to maintain the splitting, which prevents healing. Splitting precludes your identity. It prevents your identity. Splitting prevents your identity. That's why in the healing journey, Baba Yaga says to the Ivan guy, oh, you want to heal? You want to get your soul back? You got to show me and show yourself that you're able to think beyond either or thinking, oppositional thinking, adversarial thinking, black or white thinking, either or thinking, jungle slogan thinking, my greedy, your greed thinking. Can you show some kind of third side of the coin that holds the two sides? Can you show the golden mean, the middle way? Okay, can you do a kind of a both and kind of thing, like a diamond holding various facets and keep it all intact? Can you inclusive, not split it up like that? If you can do that, you got to do that to heal. But the speaker at the podium says, "Oh, don't do that. Don't put it together. Don't want." The speaker at the podium will not tell you to go watch the film of the year for 2024 called Inside Out 2, because you might see the image in that film, because at the conclusion, you saw the either or, okay, disappearing, and a new both and came on the scene. Then Riley was embodied. She won the scholarship. Everyone was calm around her. She was had a sense of beingness, so people felt safe around her. That means the team could think better, and she won the scholarship because they played better when they thought better because they felt safe around her. So she got her beingness and had that quality like that. So the speaker at the podium says, "Don't watch Inside Out 2." Now, as usual, they may find a way to twist it to just confuse yourself. Hold on a second. The guards are doing their usual rounds. Oh, this is a very high. Yeah, these guys have a lot of security kind of guys all around. Nice little boutique hotel, 5-star boutique hotel, very friendly people. I keep thinking maybe something must have happened in the past because they're pretty focused on the security here. They've checked me out so many times. Yeah, I guess I feel like a constant tourist when I come to this hotel. Oh, I don't know how to keep the speaker on all the time. It just shuts off automatically.
Never catch the train to Loverland.
I never catch the train to Loverland. Look at that. The baby cannot have the connection to Loverland, the love with the mother. He cannot connect with the mother. The baby's not getting the attunement and the line of communication that allows the mother to receive the signals. If there's a line there, a train of communication, they even, the shrinks call it entrainment. They usually call it attunement, a trainment, like a line. There's no train. I can't find the train to love. What was it? I can't find the train to Loverland, whatever it was. So there's no train like that. Okay, so that train means when the baby keeps the cord, the train is there. Communicate, the flow of communication. Mother sends a signal, she can respond because she got the message, the attunement, the flow can go, rhythm of safety can continue. So when the baby's born, you keep the placenta, keep the cord, it's still going on. It give the baby some time to get used to the land world. He's making a huge transition from the water world to the land world. Somebody joked, we begin as water beings, become a land being. Come on, give the baby some time to get used to this. Don't rob him of his mother and on his support system right off the bat like that. But they do that to pillage. People knew that. If we do that, the pin will go in the collar, he'll think in splitting terms, and he'll plunder the way he was plundered, and then he'll make excuses, and that's how you pillage and plunder. You create prejudice, and then there's a seven. Okay, from this point on, there's like a 7.5 hour video about the transition from village to pillage, and intolerant to person and prejudice. That's a sign of trauma. We're homotraumica, so we traumatized ourselves 10,000 years ago. Is it okay there? Either that's a new security guard. Either he's gonna depends. The guards change. Sometimes there's new guards, and so either guard's gonna come and say, "Sorry, sir, this is." See, what the hotel says okay, but the security seems to be like a separate unit or something. So sometimes a miscommunication. So if they kick me out, I'll go to the restaurant part. Maybe by now the guest left. Usually I go to the restaurant part, but if there's people there, I come here. But I prefer to do it in the although it's nicer here, I still prefer to do it in the restaurant part. But today's Monday. Yeah, today's Monday. Maybe it's a little. What is it? Oh, it's only 2 o'clock, according to this. Loverland. The baby never went to Wonderland. Loverland, right? Always a constant tourist. Again, the nerve lines when the baby's suckling. Okay, something about the mucosa nerves in the child and like that. And with the nipple, there's nerves in the nipple to the mother, to the breast, to the mother, to the mother. Okay, nipple, breast, mother, and from that line of nerves, the communication goes to the mother, and she intuitively picks it up and responds accordingly. And it's smooth and it flows, and it's a rhythm of safety like that, a rhythm of love like that, a train to Loverland. No train goes blocked there. It's stuck there. Mother doesn't get the signals. Baby's frustrated like that. And what if the rubber nipple comes in? There's a block. If the mother bottle feeds, come on, there's already the constant tourist right there, right off the bat. If the bottle's there, if the rubber nipple's there, there's no nerves in there. That's it. The rubber nipple will do it. There's no nerves. The plastic bottle. Baby will be angry like this. What a betrayal. What a shaming betrayal. Where are you, mother? What's with this plastic? What's this rubber thing? Well, where are you, mother? I didn't expect this betrayal. And the baby might cry like this. Insult to injury. And mother says, why are you crying? You don't like me? Well, mother, what are you talking about? Why are you so misattuned? I'm crying because I don't have the lover. I'm not connected to Loverland with you. I don't have a security with you like this. I need a reverie and an attunement and a communication, the two being one. You put me out as a tourist in the waiting room like that. I feel cold like this. You're putting me out in the cold like this. I feel frozenness and I feel cold now. What are you doing to me, mother? So baby's crying and screaming. And mother, in her frustration, might, out of desperation, dip the rubber nipple into honey. Here you go, baby. Here's all the honey. And baby's, no, I don't want this. No. Now the baby's being flooded with a high concentration of sugar. But what it does is the concentrated sugar fools the baby's brain that there's a superabundance of food for him, and his brain thinks he's safe by the food trick, and then he calms down by the food trick. It's not a neural memory that he's going to go by. Human connections lead to neural connections, not the honey trick, not the sugar trick. because then he'll be an emotional eater. He'll just be an emotional eater his whole life. He'll be just repeating and repeating and repeating his whole life, unless he's conscious later on, right? So human connections lead to neural connections. The baby wants a neural connection, okay, a neural connection, and he lays down in his memory, and then he has a regular, natural source of inner serotonin by the constant wiring of the permanent memory that mother soothed him. He can continuously forever soothe himself or be soothed. Have a calm temperament like that. If that's missing, mother puts the trick of the rubber nipple. I mean, I put the honey on the rubber nipple. That he's very enraged by this. He'll be pacified with the flood. He'll bypass his emotions and get the trick of the chemistry of the serotonin by the surplus food. But his spirit, his soul, he's really betrayed. You betrayed me, mother. There's a real anger towards his mother for doing this. Um, so this song, yeah, that's pretty good, I think.
I was running, running, running without leaving. Because the tourist I had been in your world.
A constant tourist I had been in your world. That's for the person to know, the protagonist in the song to know, okay, that when they were a baby, that they were a constant tourist in their mother's world. They didn't have the oneness. And the oneness should be the baby's world, not the mother's world. Now, there's a thought that the mother's world should be the baby's world. It should be all about the baby. It should be all about the baby. And the baby thinks the mother's one with him, and it's about him. So it's the baby's world. So this woman doesn't even get her world, right? It's only his world. Okay, that's repetition, that the mother made it all about her. The mother's supposed to make it all about the baby. The mother's there to see the baby, soothe the baby, make it all about the baby. He isn't centered. He is the center. He is entitled. Right?
They wonder why I wasn't in his days so long.
Okay, I'm going to print out the lyrics. I can't quite make out the lyrics. So next time I'll redo this exercise with the lyrics in front of me.
Really, just like you, I've always put you first. Well, you did too. Because until this I have been in your world. But your side always felt stuck in a waiting room.
Stuck in the waiting room.
They never catch the train to Loverland.
No train, no connection to Loverland.
I was running, running, running without leaving.
Running away. Maybe she's running away, the pain. Now she's an emotional fugitive from the love that she seeks. Enter the fugitive story. Okay, Richard Kimball is a fugitive from the justice he seeks. That's code for the baby is now going to run away in fear from the love, but he's looking for the love, but he's running away from the love. What a conflict, right? The baby is being rejected like this, so he's going to run away. But while he's running away, he's looking for the thing that he's running away from. See, I think maybe that's like that.
As the tourist I have been in your world. By your side always felt stuck in a waiting room.
Okay, it just repeats, I think. Near the end, right?
I did never catch the train another life. I was running, running, running without leaving. Because the tourist I have been in your world. Because the tourist I have been.
Yeah.
Forehead it says, look but don't touch, taste but don't swallow.
Look, don't touch, taste, but don't swallow. My goodness. See, you're not really fully, there's no real full acceptance or integration, like teasing. So that might be like the teasing the baby feels. the baby feels allured. Maybe he's got like a promise, like a little taste, but he can't really taste, like taste, but don't swallow, right? He can't uh, be fed properly and receive fully. You can get like a sample, like a promise, an allurement. A great hope fell. You heard no noise. The wreckage was within. O cunning tale that let no witness him, says Emily Dickinson. Okay, that's her famous poem about this trauma that we're talking about. A great hope fell. The baby had a great hope, okay, for Loverland with the mother. It fell. You heard no noise. The soul crashed, right? The soul was crushed, turned to ashes sometimes, or it flew away and turned into a raven or a dove or a bird, or flew away, or frozen in the forest, or turned to stone in the forest, okay? Or up a tunnel, down a cavern where the light has never shone, across the thrice 10th times 7.3 mountain, across the 37.2 point something ocean. Go I know not whither and bring back I know not what, says one fairy tale. So it just flies away like that. And you got to go this whole journey to get it back, kind of thing. So we had our beingness, the baby had his beingness, traumatized, flew away. Okay. So when the baby wants his needs met, what did the baby experience? Some kind of promise, some kind of allurement, like this little, what is it? What did she say? Taste, like a little sample. Didn't get the proper experience, right? Look, don't, what is it? Look, don't touch them.
Heart has been your playground.
Oh, my heart is your playground. So she said to the boyfriend, oh, you're playing with me. You're teasing me. You're taunting me. Well, that's how the baby felt with the mother. The baby feels the mother's manipulating, that the baby feels that their mother is manipulating them. Oh, baby, I'm going to manipulate you because I'm going to brainwash you to take care of me. Um, you're going to make me the center. I don't care about your development. I'm in this compulsion to be fed here, so I'll manipulate you, mother says. Gaslighting, double binding, all kind of tricks and duplicity. Easy. It's very easy for the mother to terrorize the baby. She's got all the power. Baby's helpless. Baby is full open trust to the mother. It's so easy. She's got full immunity. Everyone says the mother knows best. Father doesn't know what's going on. Mother's got all that tension and frustration built up by that time. She takes it out on the child probably. So a lot of mothers feel entitled to do this, and plus they've got so much steam to blow off maybe by that time. So baby, so she what did she say? I felt what was the line again? Can I rewind this a bit? Does that work?
It's been your
Oh,
playground.
the playground, yeah. So the baby feels nothing serious here. Mother, you're not being serious here. You're teasing me. You're taunting me. Um, and then that means I'm gonna feel more hurt like this. So later, she chooses a man with the same personality, like that cold, teasing, emotionally unavailable, aloof mother who manipulates and shames. So she'll choose a Don Juan, a playboy, okay, a bully pattern one, Iago one. She'll choose someone with a personality like that. She might make some excuses for it, but her real issue is she's attracted to that. She's attracted. See, she gets all excited if she meets a guy like that because it 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 triggers the blissful feeling um, that all babies do feel with the mother. Right? Now it's going to be frozen and masked over with the pain, but underneath the pain is the blissful feeling. So the present is going to trigger or be a catalyst for the blissful feeling with the mother. So now you've been waiting and waiting and waiting. Oh, you're the one. So that's called transfer. You're going to transfer your mother to the person in the present. That's called transfer and stuff. So the woman meets this cold playboy and she's wildly excited about him because that's the great allurement, the playground, the great allurement that the baby felt. She's very excited, like the great hope like this. And the baby felt blissful oneness. You're going to feel this blissful. Oh, you're my first, you're my last, you're my everything. So this it's unresolved with the mother. It's unfinished with the mother. It's right? So she's waiting to continue from there. So find a copy of the mother, triggers up the mother, and then transfer the whole thing to the present. And the present is seen as a continuation of the past, and you're still in the past, and you don't see the person for who they are. You just see them as an emotional reincarnation of the mother in the past, and you transfer your feeling in the past to the person in the present. You transfer your mother to the person in the present. So if the mother was a cold playgirl, then you choose a cold playboy or something like that. So you just recreate to know the past, right?
You never ask, you never apologize.
Never apologize. Of course. Women with a stinger personality pattern. If the mother has a stinger personality pattern, Iago, bully, narcissistic, passive, whatever, whichever variation of the narcissistic type, they don't have the capacity to apologize. The psychic structure needed to apologize is having feelings, but the psychic structure needed to have the primary feelings is differentiation. But they didn't differentiate because they crossed over. They became the mother. You can't be yourself if you're the mother. And when you're the mother, you just shame others who remind you of yourself. And you have a need to shame others to who play you to make you unaware that you're shaming yourself. So narcissists need to shame and hate others so they don't feel that they're shaming and hating themselves. So they don't have a personhood to apologize. So you won't hear sincere apologies from anybody with a stinger personality pattern. Um, in what's her name? Anne Teachworth's three-chair exercise, she has the clients role play their parents, like they play their parents apologizing to each other, being nice to each other, and she has a little exercise called the three-chair exercise. So you want to have like a new parallel reference about your parents, because if you only have the painful memory of your parents never apologizing to each other, never being nice to each other, never communicating like that, you're going to recreate that kind of thing. So if this fellow in the present she's talking about in a song can't apologize for anything, what's the guy the guy is confused, just like the mother's confused. They both feel entitled to get their supply. So what's there to apologize for? It's called survival anxiety. The mother has a survival anxiety. When she gobbles up the baby, she's in survival mode. She's trying to get fed by her mother, just uses the baby as a symbol of the mother. So she's just trying to survive. If the mother's hurt by this, the mother shrugs her shoulders. What are you talking about? And then she'll twist it. She'll say, well, you're my property. You're supposed to feed me. Oh my God, if the baby could speak, mother, no, I'm not a thing that you own. And I'm not the missing breast. I know, mother, that when you were a baby, you thought that your mother's breast belonged to you and it was a thing that served you and it belonged to you. I'm not that. I'm a human being. Babies are human beings. I'm not your missing mother's breast back then, which you possess. Now you want to control me, thinking you're trying to control your mother back then, right? Yeah. So if the fact that this fellow in the song can't apologize, that's a reference that most likely the mother didn't have the capacity to apologize. So she doesn't have the golden ball to do so. Because there's a person, like I apologize, there's got to be an I there. If there's no I, how do you apologize? And also gratitude. I feel grateful. There's no I there, so there's no gratitude. They won't apologize or feel. The quote unquote human side of being human, pretty much unavailable to it, hasn't entered the psychological picture because they're still in this archaic battle with the mother in their mind. And that's a survival kind of place. Baby thinks they're fighting with the sea monster. He's just in battle like that. So if a mother hurts the baby and someone calls her out on it, she shrugs her shoulder and will attack you for because she can't know the truth of what she's doing because she's just in blind survival mode kind of thing.
I was standing outside powerless, watching you fade away. You've always been out of reach.
Out of reach. You'll always be out of reach. You'll always be out of reach. No matter how many times she tries to have an emotional connection with him, okay, it's the same thing. No matter how many times the baby tried to have a security with the mother, it never worked. Okay? The mother doesn't have the psychic structure to offer that security for the baby. So no matter how hard the baby tries to accommodate her, it's never going to work. Repeat. Chooses a fellow like her, and still in that battle of it's impossible to connect with him. Okay, that's for her to know that it was when she was a baby, it was impossible to connect with her mother.
By your side, I always felt stuck in a waiting room. Didn't ever catch the train of another land. I was running without leaving. A constant tourist, I have been in your world. You're my deepest
the deepest wound, that's the deepest hurt. Okay, there's a pain so utter, it swallows substance up, then she goes in a swoon, in a trance. So when she chooses this fellow, she's doing it in a post-hypnotic trance. Okay, she was hypnotized by the mother. Okay, embedded in the hypnosis is that when she meets someone who reminds him of the mother, the hypnosis clicks in, and she'll fall in love with him and try to and pick up where she left off with the mother. So she's still in a trance. There's a pain, back to Emily Dickinson, there's a pain so utter, the greatest hurt of all, mother failed me. Pain so utter, swallows substance up. Okay, so Miss Core, the earth opens up, Miss Core gets pulled down. Okay, the image for this is in Inside Out 2, the Xar chasm scene, the earth, the chasm in the earth like that. There's no person there. Their beingness isn't there. There's just this black hole, whatever. It's a huge painful emptiness like that. Then Dickinson says, the mercy is that your brain sends you endorphins. That's the swoon. So you can go over the chasm, maybe in the swoon, or kind of like around it or something, like around it, or maybe over it, but you never can be in it, kind of thing. Now you want to feel safe, ultimately, too, step in it, because your beingness comes up from there. The phoenix flies up from there, I think.
The wound doesn't bleed anymore. Now the scar hurts.
The wound doesn't bleed anymore. The scar hurts. Yeah. So the scar is the permanent. Well, that's just one way of saying it. Maybe it still hurts, but she's numb, so it's a scar, but it still hurts. So the scar implies that it doesn't hurt anymore, right? But she's saying here it still hurts, like that. Yeah. So the replay of the wound is the scar version of the original hurt, but it still hurts. Although it's a scar now, but it still hurts. Maybe she's saying it like that.
Well, standing outside powerless, watching you fade away. You've always been out of reach.
You'll always be out of reach. Yeah. So this is the relentless, unreal hope. For the baby trying to get mother's love, she was always out of reach. No matter how many times the baby tries, there's no way any baby can heal a traumatized mother. There's no way. So she'll always be out of touch, out of reach, and the baby will always feel like a constant tourist. And there's no train to Loverland. What was it again? Something. Road to love. No path to love. Whatever it was. Something to Loverland. Okay, hang in there. We'll get to today's quotes here. This is a different feeling for me. This is my first. I mentioned before. This is my first time doing it hands-free like this. The thing is, I got the phone on this flimsy little plastic thing, and I got it propped up with some little plastic spoons. If I move it, it's gonna all fall down. So that's why I'm covering the screen, because if I want to, distract myself with something. I'm not feeling as refreshed I was in the past videos. It's funny, I was feeling kind of energized and refreshed with those past 5 videos roughly when I got the new phone, but the audio is all messed up. If it's not too bad with the audio, those are good videos, the past ones. Actually, by and large, there's been a lot of good videos lately. The quotes are strong, like 99% of the time. On the rare occasion, there's a weak batch. But generally speaking, I think you'll find 1 out of 10 of help. That's the odds are 1 out of 10 might be of help. So if I'm filtering and skimming and scamming and picking the best that I can, and then out of those, which you get here, 10,000, hopefully 1 out of 10 will work. I'm thinking those kind of terms. Right? I'm inspired by Robert Bly. He said, read psychology. Okay, now the heart and soul of psychology is the psychoanalytic. The psychoanalytic just means that the baby has an intrapsychic template, blueprint, schema, working model, endopsychic structure, intrapsychic structure, some kind of memory system, internal working model, they call it. Okay, and this is created by the interpersonal with the mother. Baby and the mother, interpersonal leads to the inner psyche. Now, this is the issue. This is the premise. Do you believe this? Do you believe the baby remembers what happened to him? Oh, babies don't remember. Don't worry about it. Okay, then you don't. Okay, that's the theory. Well, that's the theory about psychoanalysis. We believe that they believe that the baby remembers, um, and makes beliefs about himself and the world. The mother is the world for the baby. If the mother was unfriendly to the baby, he may later on think that the world is unfriendly. If the uterus, if the baby in the uterus experienced what's called prenatal distress syndrome, where the mother was drinking and smoking and going to rock concerts and all this, and he was kicking and he's terrorized like this, and he might kick the cord around him, not getting enough oxygen in the center vein. He's terrorized like this. He projects his rage onto what he might sense might be his mother, which would be the placenta, cord, and three veins. Now he's fighting with the sea monster. So he may think in the uterus that the uterus was not a friendly place. If that's frozen like that, that's his template. He'll think the universe is not a friendly place. Things like that. Where are we here? Okay, let's put this aside here. Oh my God! Oh, okay. You know, yesterday I was planning to play Earth, Air, Fire. There's an episode called Earth, Air, Fire, Water. Is that right? From an old 80s radio program called Gleanings of the Earth. There's only one copy of, of Kirsten Wilson's speech called Ooh My Soul, and it's in this episode from the Gleanings of the Earth show. And I'm worried it might get lost. Now, I do have a copy in other earlier videos, so I just want to keep updating as we can. So luckily, it's still on the internet. There's only one copy. And even the conference people that filmed it, so-called the pioneers people, they don't even have it on their website. Look for it. They don't even have it. So it's like really, there's only one copy of this speech. So it's called "Ooh My Soul" by Kristen Wilson. I keep saying Kirsten. It's either Kirsten or Kirsten. I'm not sure. It's Kirsten. So I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Is it Kirsten or Kirsten? Kirsten. Can I speak to Kirsten? Can I speak to Kirsten? Kirsten. It's probably Kirsten, right? What sounds right? Kirsten. Anyways, she's a theater. She does a theater therapy. Theater. She mixes theater, drama, and therapy. Puts it all together. And she was invited to give a speech to this pioneers conference in the 80s or something. And they focus on environmental consciousness and you know, awareness about the ecology and how it's important not to dump 10 billion tons of plastic into the ocean, you know, things like that. So she combines environmental kind of ideas with the theater, with the therapy, a little psychology. It's all mishmashed, a little comedy like that. She does her speech in the form of a sermon, but she's a woman. She calls it a mammon, for gender reclamation. And so let's play it because I don't want to forget again. Okay, it's about 10 minutes long. Keep the context in mind. She's speaking to an audience, trying to entertain the audience in a funny way, but she wants to be serious and funny at the same time. She makes a reference. There's one reference she makes back then, which maybe today somebody might not say it in that way. So forgive her for that part. But the rest of the speech is pretty good. It's a great little speech. The key quote for me is, if you're not in your body, you're not making sense, literally, and it's disembodied discourse that causes all these confusions and problems we see out there. The maiden king, if you have your beingness, that's the feminine element, the beingness. If you have your beingness, then the doing from the being is ethical, moral, and virtuous. It's normal like that, maiden king. So the king is the masculine, means the doing, the yang, the doing. The being is the yin, the feminine, the being. So you want to have Lao Tzu said, the way is the path. The way is the path. The way is the beingness, that's the path. The way is the path. You got to have your beingness. Lao Tzu, the way is the path. So if you have your embodiment, your beingness, okay, you'll have your golden ball, you'll be ethical, and your doing will be ethical because you got your golden ball, because your golden ball is the expression of your beingness. So that's the normal state of it. If you don't have your beingness, if it's frozen, then what are you doing? You got the chasm there, you're in a swoon, and now what? Well, you're repeating that someday, something symbolic of mother will be mother. Some pint of ice cream will be mother sweetness in the past. That doesn't make sense. Some bottle of spirits, alcoholic spirits, might be mother spirit in the past. Doesn't make sense. Repeating symbolically the present, you'll change the past. So if the mother was cold and refusing, you go to the slot machine, cold and refusing. You had a promise with the mother, it got rejected. You go to the slot machine, there's a promise to win money, you get rejected. You keep doing that, you think you're going to change the past. So you got this kind of relentless hope. Okay, another one is the protest one. If she crossed over and identified with the aggressor, Berger calls a negative magic gesture, where she wants to show up the mother, expose the mother, that a crime was committed on her and she felt a huge injustice. So she wants to protest what her mother did to her by finding others as a proxy of them. She plays the shaming mother and says to the world, hey world, look at what my mother did to me. See those innocent people that all pretend they're me, I'm the mother, and see how negative I am towards them? Where did I learn that from? My mother taught me that. She did that to me. So I'm exposing her, I'm showing her up. So you got this kind of, you're not making sense, hurting others. That really some magical time machine will appear. You'll go back in the past. The mother will say, oh, I saw the effects of my behavior. Let me correct it. It's not going to happen, right? And so on. There's other kind of not making sense kind of points like this. So I think that's sort of the key line for me. If you're not in your body, you're not making sense. You know, if your sense of self, you're not making sense. Like you're not reasonable, because it's not reasonable to create in the present the battle in the past with your mother in the nursery. You're not in the nursery. Your mother's long gone. You survived it. You're not still fighting with your life with the breast mother, because the baby thinks he's a goner. If the mother doesn't soothe him and make him feel safe, he thinks he's a goner. You're not in that kind of place anymore. But it's a timeless memory and it dominates us. So that's why we're not making sense. So because of the trauma, we lost ourselves. Our authentic self therapy is to bring yourself back to yourself. You had ourself, you lost it, want to get it back. You had your beingness, you lost it, want to get it back. That's the kind of the quote from before was, you want to get your soul back in your body. If you don't have your soul in your body, you're not making sense anymore. You're greedy, you're envious, you're spiteful, you're always jungle slogans, survival slogans. You want, there might be pyrrhic revenge out there where if you suffer, you think your mother will suffer. And if you suffer, you want to hurt your mother, so you suffer thinking you're doing these disturbed kind of things. You'll be afraid of success because that means forgiving your mother. But wait a minute, you betray your feelings if you forgive your mother, if she hurt you so much. You don't want to betray yourself, so you won't be successful. Not making sense, right? Okay, and so on, so on. So let's play the speech here. Let's get this back up. Is this still on? I give you a minute to cue it up. It's a 30-minute program. It's sort of about halfway through. Give me a second here.
And in this way, the world is kept.
Not this one.
Resilient.
Oh, here we go. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Hey, yeah, yeah. The earth is our mother. She will take care of us. The earth is our mother. She will take care of us. Hey, yeah, no, yeah. Oh, what the hell? What happened now? Now what? Oh my goodness. Oh. The earth is our mother.
Brothers and sisters, we are gathered here to discuss what must, if we shall succeed, be a spiritual revolution. An evolution from Homo sapiens sapien, revealingly redundant, to Homo economicus, well put, Matt Oschliger, to Homo naturalis. I will proceed directly to the heart of my sermon, which, for the sake of revolutionary gender reclamation, I drop the sir and add a ma'am, making this not a sermon, but a mammon. Yes! Yes, Buchanan, I said mammon, which speaks to the natural and pantheistic instead of the mechanical and sadistic. We are talking about exchanging biopornography for biophilia. Pornography. That is the structure of domination which has replaced English as our national language. Everything translated into what I can possibly control or consume without being touched, changed, challenged, or connected. A language which transforms women into meat, animals into meat products, poor men into machines, and rich men into gods. But in their attempts to become gods, they have lost their souls. We all have. That is why I am up here preaching my mammon. God did not throw us out of Eden. Brothers and sisters, we are throwing ourselves out every industrious day. That apple Eve ate was good. Sweet. But what about the apples now with their red, shiny pesticidal coverings, Satan in the shape of Monsanto? But it's okay. I can afford organic. I am single, white, educated. I don't have children to feed. There will be poor with us always. Let them eat the pesticide-riddled fruit. Ha! Joke, riddle, on us. Genocide continues. Organic for the rich, toxic. Tap water for the poor. We have a lot of work to do if this re-evolution is really going to happen and save us. So, let us talk about salvation. And I do not mean a peach smoothie and a massage. I am talking about saving this planet and the people with it. How will we be saved? The environmental catastrophe appears overwhelming. We are afraid we cannot think our way out of this mess. Of course not. We must feel our way out. We must learn to listen with our hearts and our hands. If you are not in your body, you are not making sense. Literally. It is disembodied discourses that have got us into this crisis. We have worshipped the false gods of logic, progress, productivity, practicality. If destroying the earth for short-sighted economic profit is intelligent, reasonable, then please, God, make me a moron! This is a spiritual revolution about finding our ways back to the land, finding ways to be fed, spiritually fed. And it is not easy. I know. I myself have strategized on ways to make my plans fit their pathology. I have walked through the shadow of political expedience. Once I had a campaign I thought I'd do this whole campaign about changing the environmental reference to this earth, from Mother Earth to Father Planet. Yeah. You see, I read all those, those bumper stickers that were out, those with the green earth globes that said, "Love your mother." And I despaired. I knew there was no hope. And I'm not even referring to the irony of having pro-planet language on the back of a car. Hallelujah. I am referring to the slogan, love your mother. It won't work. White America hates its mothers. I thought of Mother's Day and the men who give the mother of their children sentimental harlequin cards, then beat, rape, and silence them the other 364 days. No, I thought, no wonder we have an environmental crisis if we treat the earth the way we treat our mothers. We think mothers are made to be exploited. They are supposed to give and ask nothing in return. They are supposed to have infinite resources. All good mothers are willing to be drained, damned, and depleted for their children. Mothers live for their baby's feeding schedule, and there is always a little milk left for Exxon, Texaco, International Paper, and the U.S. military. I mean, I thought, but if nature was perceived as male, then maybe everything would be different. Think about it. I mean, it might not be nice to fool Mother Nature, but if you mess with Father Planet, he'll beat the shit out of you. Hail, hurricane, and all. Yeah, and then maybe environmentalists would get the respect they deserve. No longer mamas, boys, and girls. Maybe they would be treated like real men, and the real women who love real men. A name change to Father Planet is not enough. Fathers and mothers, we both need to be saved if this planet is going to survive. The environmental crisis points to a total ideological and spiritual crisis. Including the earth in the economic equation is not enough. We are destroying the earth for reasons that are bigger than economics. You see, we are afraid of death. We are afraid of this earth, this nature that will bring us back to dust. We are afraid of the dust and the dirt that will claim us, or the waters that we came from, and thus afraid of women's bodies, the bridges by which we walk this earth. An intellectual atheist performance artist in spiritual crisis wrote this sermon. Because this revolution is about a religion in one of its original meanings, re-linking, reconnecting. The lives of women raped and murdered daily are fought in this struggle. The lives of indigenous peoples are fought in this struggle. The men and women lost in the empty addiction of power, these infantile gods, will grow into their souls if we win. We must win. If the pioneers had a manifest destiny to colonize, control, and consume, then the pioneers should have a manifest destiny to decolonize, create, and commune. But this must be a spiritual re-evolution, not just the environment, separate and distinct from its home and all and everything. You see, if this is a spiritual re-evolution, if we get to feel as we fight, if we just get to feel as we fight, then we have already won. Amen. A women, a planet, our soul.
maybe another time I'll run through it and just comment on each of the sentences. She crams in a lot in that little 10-minute speech. But the conclusion was good, you know. If we can feel, then the feeling is the goal. Like once you're feeling everything's okay, your doing will be ethical and moral and empathy. Once you get your feelings, we had our feelings, we lost it, want to get it back. We mean the primary feelings represented by joy and sadness and the golden ball. But that's all zooped away. Remember in Inside Out 1? Joy and sadness got zooped away. So at the console came the sensations of the visceral response of the amygdala. Okay, so it's mostly fear, anger, and disgust or shame was there. And then that's a pitiful life like that. I'm always thinking impulsive, either or thinking, my greedy, your greedy, survival. So there's no affection or feeling or joy, you know. So that's why joy and sadness have to come back. But first, all of the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away. So first, sadness had to come back. That's the morning. Then you get joy back at the console, right? Should we play that song? All of the joy for which you pray. We have a song called 100 Tears Away. Maybe we'll play it another time. I'm curious to see how it sounds on the playback, if it came through, if it's still kind of wavy, echoey, kind of distorted or muffled or something. If the audio in this video is still messed up, I'm taking this phone back. I've tried every which way. The tech people, they don't reply. This was like the last ditch. Okay, I'll just reset the phone. Maybe that's what it is. I never thought of that at first, right? Okay, where are we here? Yeah. This thing about what she said about treating the earth like you treat your mother. See, because first the earth is you. You're the mother. Mother shamed you. You shamed the earth. Hocus pocus, auto hypnosis, double focus at the same time on another level. When we shame the planet, who's us, because we're the shaming mother, we think the planet is our mother hurting us, whom we're angry at. So very traumatized people hate the ones they hurt. So we hurt the planet and we hate the planet. The planet's us, we hate the planet the way the mother hated us. And then flip-flop, we're angry at our mother. So we flip-flop, the planet becomes mother, and we hate the mother like that. Okay, this is a sign of trauma where baby doesn't differentiate from the mother. He feels shame, the mother's dangerous. So the planet's no good and dangerous. So the planet's no good, and you're angry at your mother. You're angry at the planet. So you want to control the planet, thinking you're controlling the mother. See, it doesn't make sense. Doing this kind of stuff doesn't make sense. So like she said, it's disembodied. That's my favorite line in there. The other funny line was let's talk about salvation. And I don't mean a peach. I don't mean a smoothie. Should we get into today's batch here? I want to focus on a quote by today. I want to focus on a quote by Celani. It's sort of in three parts. Part one is today, 29:38, and part 2 and 3 is sort of tomorrow, 29:39. But I want to read them together, the three parts. So this Celani quote, I think it's pretty solid here. Let's do it here. One second. Yeah, give me 1 second. Let's do a 1-minute song here. What about, it must be something psychological. Should we play that one? Katie Lee. Before I read it, let me just take 1 minute here. 1 second. It must be something psychological. No, let's play a shorter one. Okay, Shrinker Man's only about 1.5 minutes. Okay, here's a song called Shrinker Man, wise me up if you can. I've been on one of those complex tours. Okay, the Faustian deal, that's a complex tour. Right? Shaming others who play you, and you're the mother who shamed you. Mother shamed you, you're her. So you shame yourself, too painful. Find others to play you, shame. That's a complex. That's a Faustian complex. Unconscious guilt. Baby feels always guilty in debt due to the mother. Got to save the mother, got to fix the mother. Complex tour. Okay, didn't get mother's love. too much anger at the mother. It's like a mother complex. Shrinker man, wise me up if you can.
Shrinker man, put me straight if you can. Free me of my tics and twitches, disconnect my latent switches, Shrinker man. Shrinker man, wise me up if you can. Air my problems and excuse me, sympathize and unconfuse me, Shrinker man. I've been on one of those complex tours. I want you to make my problems yours. Now give me one of them cut-rate cures, Shrinker man. Shrinker man, set me right if you can. Align me, tune me, normalize me, clean me up and simonize me, Shrinker man. Shrinker man. Shrinker man. Shrinker man.
This is a parody comedy song. It's a parody about the idea that wouldn't it be nice if it were so simple, like fixing your car, where you take your broken car to the mechanic, he fixes it and everything's so easy like that. Wouldn't it be nice if we were like that? Shrinker man, say abracadabra, and I'll be on my way. It doesn't work like that, but she just made it a little fun at this idea. So we have to be a detective. We have to build our ego. We have to learn the technique of self-reflection, and the shrink is a role model for that. Pick it up for yourself. Some people think that's when the therapy thing ends. Oh, thank you, shrinker man. I see how you think. I can think like that. I'll take it from here, kind of thing. He doesn't like. You're not passive, and he does something to you like a mechanic to a car. You have to be the active agent to build your mind, build your ego. One metaphor is build the ark. That's Robert Bly thinks that's what that means with the ark, the Noah's Ark one. You got to build that ark, like the guy, no, Mr. Noah built the ark, because the water and you're flooded. That's the unconscious. Then you're repeating. If you're in the unconscious, just repeating. You need the ark to stay in the present. So we got to stay in the present. We got to build the adult mind, the ego mind. That's the ark he talks about, the ark, right? Okay, Celani. So one of our key threads in our collection here, it's called repetition compulsion. And Paul Libby-Russell, sort of our lead author on it. Go to 2119. It starts there with Paul Libby-Russell. I found him to be the clearest writer about repetition compulsion. No books, just a few articles, and the best quotes from those few articles we have here, beginning at 2199. And we have other quotes that add to it. So here's another one by a guy named David Celani. Repetition compulsion. Repetition compulsion. Okay, the observation. Is this working if I do it like this? I feel like a news reporter. It's my first time to do it without holding the phone. Strange feeling. Yeah, I feel like now I have a sense of what these news reporters go through. They sit still and try to I feel like maybe I do sit more calmly when I do it this way. I'm just curious. Okay, repetition compulsion. The observation that humans paradoxically relive and recreate painful situations from their childhood in their adult relationships. Like, whoa, the self-help author on YouTube, there's a clip of her, Amy Bear. She says, oh yeah, we create in the present the childhood because of the pain we're still feeling. We're still feeling that pain, so we recreate it to get out of the pain. We're trying to get out of this pain. We're trying to get our needs met from back then. So we recreate like a mirage or a copy of it and think it's still there and try to get a better outcome. That's the paradox. We relive and recreate the painful situation, hoping for a better outcome. They used to say long ago, oh, you want to master the trauma, you want to master it. You never master. Paul Libby-Russell says, you can have 20 lifetimes. A person can have 20 lifetimes shaming others, thinking that they'll be healed from their nursery, from their mother. Really, some magical time machine is going to appear. Mother's going to say, I'm sorry, and give the love that you needed. You can repeat and imitate her in the Faustian deal endlessly. No, remember Faustian deal, live forever, no time. So it doesn't work like that. The inevitable replay. Now, the positive intention of repetition compulsion is to remember. We repeat to remember. Many people say it's a both and thing. If you don't want to remember, just repeat. You don't remember when you repeat. At the same time, you're trying to remember. You repeat in an effort to remember. You're trying to remember. Your soul is helping you to remember the past. So you repeat it as if your unconscious says to the conscious, hey, you, what you're doing in the present, that's a replay of the past. Make the inference, that's for the past. So young lady, if you think your boyfriend is so cold like that and you feel like a constant tourist, that's how you felt with your mother in the past. You recreated it. I, the unconscious, the puppet master got you to choose him so you could know that as a baby, okay, the person felt like a constant tourist with their mother. Repetition compulsion, the observation that humans paradoxically, it's a paradox. Like, why would we do it? If it's painful, why create it? Doesn't make sense. Why would we create that? Why can't we just say it's okay, it happened, accept it, move on? The baby's brain is it's putty. It's so tender. It's laying down deep grooves about himself, about the mother. His energy's feeding into this. He can't have his energy in the present if you feel so much pain like that. So that's the ultimate goal is to pull out your energy for the past and devote it to something in the present. But you got to have the arc for the present to see that and to fit it into the present. So if you don't have the conscious mind, if you don't have the adult mind, put it the adult mind, then you're flooded. That you're unconscious, and you're either going to be the Faustian one called the freezing parent, where you shame yourself the way the mother shamed you, but you find others to play you, okay, and shame them, thinking others are you, and then flip flop. The ones you just shamed is your mother hurting you, now you're angry at the ones you just hurt. That's the perverse stuff. The more benign one is you play yourself, you play the child side one, the frozen child one, and just find others who reject you the way you were rejected, to repeat that, to know that's what happened. The observation that humans paradoxically relive and recreate painful situations from their childhood in their adult relationships. In the film Greenberg, not a very good film, but there's a line in there by the shrink. The guy said, reported what his shrink told him. The shrink told him, quote, "You have trouble living in the present. So you linger in the past, dwell in the past, because you feel like you never really lived it. It was too painful. You couldn't know it. You couldn't understand it. You didn't live it. You weren't present. You spaced out. You couldn't live it. So you're there. You're dwelling there. You can't enjoy the present." Another one is from the Heck Ramsey Show, starring Richard Boone, the guy who played Paladin. Where do you roam? The guy who played Have Will Travel. He did a sequel called Heck Ramsey. Very good show. Heck, the guy's name, first name is Heck. His family name was Ramsey. That's the character's name, played by Richard Boone. So the character in the show was older now, likes a lady and all this, but he doesn't know her psychology, and he's a little bit of afraid. He wants to know whether or not she is going to transfer her battle with her mother onto him and fight with him, thinking she's fighting with the mother. He said, no, don't worry. Her reply was, the past is to be remembered, not lived as the present. So she felt that when she said that. So I think he was relieved to hear that, assuming it's sincere, right? So the past is to be remembered, not lived as the present. If you don't remember, then you transfer to the present, live it as the present. Paradox, repetition compulsion. The inevitable replay of the painful. Oh, by the way, she's a woman, right? If she's fighting with her, if her father and mother were fighting, she plays the father. She marries a man who's like the mother, and she's going to continue to fight like the fight that she had. That's why the 3-chair exercise can update things. Or you got to mourn. You got to mourn. You got to mourn. Admit that you didn't get a loving mother. Admit that your mother didn't love you. When we say that, we mean from the baby's perspective. If he's fighting with the monster, he's not being loved like that. So he wasn't loved. Okay, 20 TQ 2822. Why didn't my mother love me? Okay, you got to face this painful truth. You got to call a spade a spade. Baba Yaga wants to, if you want to heal, she wants to know, can you call a spade a spade? That your mother didn't love you. That's calling a spade a spade. That's called honoring your parents. You honor your parents when you get their story. When you get your story, you know the truth that they couldn't love you. then now you're getting somewhere. The inevitable replay of the painful relationships that populate our unconscious. We seek others to act out roles that we took in our family of origin. So you can play yourself and find others to play your mother, let's say, or you can play the mother and find others to play you and just repeat the thing. Or those that were originally taken by one or the other of our parents. Repetition compulsion is neither pain-seeking nor pleasure-seeking. Yeah, put that aside. Oh, pleasure principle. Masochist. What is this? Forget. It's not about this issue of pain-seeking and pleasure-seeking. It's about a recreation, whatever it is, it's about a recreation of our original family that has become the internal template of human relationships that we have not been able to escape. So obviously it's painful, right? But you're not seeking the pain. You didn't grow out of it, kind of thing. So you recreate it. We recreate the only relational world that we've ever known. One that is often based on frustration, longing, despair, abandonment, depression, anger, and all this stuff. So this fits in as well with Ms. Teachworth's model, right? The inner couple template, and the child role models their adult behavior like one of the parents, and then therefore chooses like what that parent chose, and then your choice will be just like how your parent chose. So if your parent chose an aloof partner, then you'll choose an aloof partner. If your parent chose a bullying partner, then you'll choose, and you're like them, you chose a bullying partner. You choose how your role model parent chose. Because you have not been able to leave that house, leaving mother's house, leaving father's house. You haven't left that psychic house. You haven't left that childhood memory. We recreate the only relational world that we've ever known. Okay. The greatest irony of a childhood fraught with rejection and frustration is that when the child grows up, he or she tends to recreate similar rejecting and negative situations in his or her intimate adult relationships, assuming the individual even manages. Okay, next one. Okay, it is the most paradoxical result of a poor developmental history. It is the most paradoxical result of a poor developmental history. A paradoxical result of a poor developmental history. Attachment trauma, relational trauma, developmental trauma. Okay, so that's a poor developmental history. It's paradoxical that you'd recreate that painful thing. Why do we do that? You want a better outcome. You want to get your needs met. That part of the brain doesn't know time, so you're still looking for it. The recreation of the original family pattern in, quote, new relationships is a way of remaining attached to the original family in a new location with new actors in old roles. And this common psychological event is formally called repetition compulsion. Okay, same script, different cast. Is that song copyrighted? Oh, yesterday I played Pavlov's Dog. It's copyrighted. In the last video, you'll notice some gaps. I tried to play some Pavlov's Dogs. I played Theme from Subway Sue and the other one, Late November. Two great songs by the classic rock band Pavlov's Dog. But it's blocked, so I had to trim it out. But there's another song called Same Script, Different Cast by Whitney Houston and a co-singer, like a duet thing. I got the other one. Okay, so you're still there. So you recreate it because you're still there. You haven't left it. So you recreate it because you're still there. That's the issue, right? Often, healthy solutions are out of the reach of adults who were reared in unloving families because these families were not supportive enough to allow their children to develop new and healthy identities. Part one, part two. Healthy Healthy mothers understand that by supporting a child's developmental achievements, they are paving the way for that child's ultimate independence. That's called Freudian Freude. Mother has pleasure and delight in knowing that their child will be autonomous and unique and that they'll be free to express it. Okay. If the mother has Schadenfreude, the child's going to have to play Bob Marley, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. So none but ourselves can set us free. So the mother creates this mental slavery on the child. Sadly, many mothers unconsciously cannot tolerate the child's increased separation during development because the child's love has been used to support the parents' empty sense of self. She's got the chasm within. Okay, so she needs a teddy bear, a prop. She's holding on to the baby, clinging to the baby, like a baby clinging to a teddy bear. She uses the baby as a teddy bear. Many of these mothers have experienced severely impoverished histories with their own parents and have poor adult relationships as well. So Ms. Teachworth's simple question was, when you were a child and you saw your parents interacting between them, don't you wish there was something healthy there instead of what you saw? Don't you wish there was a healthy thing going on between the two, where they open communication, fountain of love, mutual discovery, making I statements, learning, growing together, reading books together, discussing the film together, making I statements together, free associating together, doing things together, being playful together, being kind to each other. Maybe they surprise each other with little gifts. Don't you wish you saw that kind of loving, warm, loving kind of thing that's going on? And if there were problems, you saw the process of how they solved their problems, and they became more intimate because of that. So they even grew and became more sweet because they went through that process, rather than just walling off and stonewalling and blaming and having this little bitter Cold War like that between them. Don't you wish that? So then in the role play, in the 3-chair exercise, you role play a healthy father, and then you hop onto the other chair and then role play the healthy mother that should have been there. You do those things and you bounce back and forth. So, for example, a couple goes to Miss Teachworth. Please, shrinker lady, teach us how to communicate with each other. Teach us how to get along with each other. We're always fighting. We came to you. Can you referee and teach us how to talk to each other? Oh, no. No? I thought that, no. I'll see you, sir, on Monday, and I'll see you, lady, on Tuesday. Okay? All right, whatever. So the guy comes on Monday and thinks that she's going to role play his wife, and he'll teach her. No, she doesn't do that either. The guy's confused. Well, what am I here for? Am I not your client? No, you're not my client. The parents in your head, your parents, those ghosts, that template, that's my client. Your parents in your mind, that's my client. And you and I together are going to create a healthy version of that, a parallel healthy version of that template that you can refer to instead. So he would give him the 3-chair exercise and let him role play his healthy parents. On Tuesday, same thing with the lady. And this went on back and forth for several months. And sure enough, according to her, they found themselves referring to their own inner healthier templates. And because he was referring to a healthier impression, she was doing the same thing. They were nicer to each other, and they got along all of a sudden, right? Where are we here? So some others punish their child's autonomy. A number of mothers have told me that they conceived children for the sole purpose of fulfilling their need to be loved. Yeah, I made you to find me. Some women made the children, wanted a child. I want a child. I gotta have a child. That's like a compulsion. Give me mother. That's like that. A number of mothers have told me that they conceived children for the sole purpose of fulfilling their need to be loved. Amazing, eh? It is paradoxical that these adult women were motivated to become mothers by their pressing, unmet childhood needs, and nothing suited their purposes better than an infant of their own. The unfortunate child, he's going to be cursed. Well, she's cursed, he'll be cursed. The unfortunate child who was born to a parent with these needs is forced into the role of captive audience, one who is expected to supply his or her mother with all the love that she didn't receive from her parents. Then that kid grows up and plays Bob Marley. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Okay, part 3. The endless struggle with rejections from childhood. Okay, I'm having an off day today. If you notice me a little fatigued or distracted, I'm not fully rested today. But however I feel, I want to keep the videos going. I was refreshed and energized in the past videos. Today is a little sluggish one. But it's about the quotes. My disclaimer, I'm not an analyst. You can see my anxiety. I have not been analyzed. I cannot do what Lucy Freeman did in her book, Fight Against Fears, where she reported what she had learned from her shrink, and she shared it in that book, 2822. So I can't come from a place of directly passing on what I learned kind of thing. I'm just starting from scratch, reading the books, skimming the books, and plucking out the best quotes. I'm just kind of like that. So I'm the compiler of the quotes, yeah, put it that way. Robert Bly says, 30% of what you're going to hear tonight in this lecture is wrong. It's up to you, dear audience, to figure out which 30%. Same idea. So there's no magic breast here, no magic words, no magic answer. These are just clues, brainstorming, guesstimates, hypotheses, invitations for mutual exploration, trial and error. We're just looking for clues. We're looking for clues. So we're just looking for clues. Use these as springboards for better ideas, prompts to free associate with, and so on. That's all that we're doing here. Where are we here? These immature, hang on. Part 3, the endless struggle with rejections from childhood and the ensuing compulsion of the rejected child, adult child, to return to the persons who rejected them is a topic that is not limited to the field of psychology. Novelists, we mean interpretive literature. So literature, you have escapism, get you away from your problems, escape from your problems as escapism literature. We don't mean that stuff. Interpretive literature helps you to be aware of yourself. Interpretive literature. Some of these Twilight Zone episodes, Gabe's story talked about yesterday, To See the Invisible Man, another Twilight Zone episode, Memphis, and Take My False Life, Please one, and the Groundhog Day, the Nightmare Groundhog Day one. I forgot the titles. We've been talking about the Twilight Zone for the past month. A lot of those episodes, which we've been discussing here, are very interpretive. They're very interpretive. Novelists like the Goethes and the Ibsens, the Peer Gynt story, the Faust story, it's meant to make you aware of yourself, right? So these literature people have the analytic mind intuitively. So they're like writing their novels in their process to help themselves and the readers to know themselves, not just give you drugstore novels to a soap opera stuff to get away from your present problem, blow off steam, go fantasy land, and then time passes. Not that kind of stuff. So this is called interpretive literature. Novelists, these kind of novelists, have also used the child's attachment to abusive parents as a major theme. Tragically, when deprived, introjectively empty people do seek out new objects. They most often find new objects that bear a striking resemblance to their original rejecting objects. When we say resemblance, we mean personality resemblance, not necessarily the appearance and all that. They may look a little different or something, but the personality, we're talking about the personality pattern. These are the abusive partners that are featured in the self-help literature. So all these rants and complaints by so many people, well, that's the parent. They chose someone like the parent. It's not logical, it's psychological. You want to replay that one? It's not logical, it's psychological. Katie Lee again. I gotta reset this thing here. Here's a song by Katie Lee. Her big hit.
It must be something psychological. It may be something very physical that makes me.
Okay, so here's a joke, right? It's really not about pheromones and hormones and the stars and the moon and all that stuff, or reincarnation kind of things, old soul. It's not about that kind of stuff. It's about the template. It's about the template. So in the song, you'll hear how she's only attracted to emotionally unavailable men because her mother was emotionally unavailable. It's really quite explainable. And then she'll repeat it. So she'll reach for it, disappointed, and do it again, do it again, do it again. That's what it must be something psychological. Is it hormones? Is it pheromones? Is it something else? Way to a man's heart through the food, stomach? Is it just, okay. No, it's psychological. It must be something psychological.
Feel the way I do whenever I'm in touch with you. I think it's something strange and mystical.
So it's the unknown, mystical. Wow, it's a mystery, right? So why is she feeling this blissful feeling? If the person in the present is a parent copy of the parent, you feel this mystical unico mystica, the participation mystique. The baby's in a blissful oneness. One guy calls it oceanic ecstasy. This blissful feeling that the baby has, being a little king, little god like that. In the music video called "Love How You Love Me" by Melanie Thornton, the couple met, and she reminded him of the missing mother, of the absent mother, and he reminded her of the absent mother. They dropped their bags, held hands, and floated up in the air. Is it mystical? What is it?
It might be something very chemical.
It might be. So she's just saying, what is it? Is it pheromones? What is it? Why is she so spellbound and tranced by somebody? What is it? Oh, okay. The conclusion, it's psychological. It's not about pheromones and these little simple little things. Not about astrology, simple little silly things like that.
What is this force between us two that makes me gravitate to you?
What is this force that makes me gravitate towards you? That's the compulsion. Repetition compulsion. It's a force. It's a drive. The baby has a drive to latch onto his mother. So the mother was unavailable. This person reminds you of the mother. You have this force like that, the way the baby had a drive to reach to the mother. That's the force she's talking about.
I know you're not my ego ideal, you're unlike my father or brother, but the way I feel does not become a sister, a pal, or a mother. Still, it must be something psychological. It may be something very physical that makes me feel the way I do whenever I'm in touch with you. It's something psychological.
See, she says, "Oh, you're not like my brother or something, or you're not something like healthy, an ideal kind of person." No, it's got to be a copy of the parent that hurt you. It's got to be the parent that your other parent chose, whom you role modeled after. You're recreating the template. It's a compulsion called repetition compulsion. That's the force, that's the drive, that's the spellbound, that's the trance, that's the amazement. Wow, right? But you were disappointed And that's why you're drawn to this, to get re-disappointed again, and you do it and you loop it. It's an infinite loop, right?
I know you're not my ego ideal, you're unlike my father or brother.
Ego ideal. I'm not sure what she really means by the phrase ego ideal there. You know, this ego ideal might be like some dreamy perfection or something. You're not this dreamy perfection. So why am I attracted to you? If you were this dreamy perfection, I'd be attracted, but you're not that. So what's going on there? The issues with the mother, of course, right?
The way I feel does not become a sister, a pal, or a mother. My yearning's really quite explainable. I want you 'cause you're unattainable.
Unattainable. She says, you're unattainable. You're unattainable. You're emotionally unavailable. You're unattainable. It's really quite explainable.
Just let me get my hands on you, and then I'll want somebody new. With me, it's cycle.
So she wants somebody because she's just recreating the disappointment. Oh, you're not it. You're just repeating the disappointment. Find that other one. Same thing. Right? If she's a Don Ohana, let's say, like a female Don Juan, right? If she's a female Don Juan, it's called identification with the aggressor. So she'll allure people into her orbit or be attracted to people and dump them, because that's what happened to her with the mother. She was allured with the mother and she was dumped by the mother, but she becomes the dumper. Like the Don Juan, they allure people in and dump them to replay what had happened to them, that they felt allured by the mother and the mother dumped them. So they become the dumper, find others to represent them and replay what happened to them. So this could be an infinite loop. So the Don Juan thing can spend his whole life. Remember, no time, deal with the devil, right? No time, mother's power, you're the active one. Now the ego ideal idea, theoretically, sometimes if it's for a girl, if there's a fellow who represents, like he's the most handsome guy on the planet or something, and all the women desire him, okay, and he represents all men, right? If a man sort of represents culturally all men or something, she may think, oh, okay, well, that's when I was a baby, my mother was all to me. If this person is all to everyone, then maybe that'll be my mother. Ego ideal. You'll be disappointed right there, right? And we have four songs. We have four songs on our soundtrack by Katie Lee. Katie Lee. This one here, her big hit called "It Must Be Something Psychological." Shrinker Man, we played already. Properly Loved and Repressed Hostility Blues, all on her album entitled Songs of Couch and Consultation. She did do a follow-up album called Life is a Bed of Neurosis instead of Roses. Life is a bed of neurosis, like roses instead of roses. Life should be a bed of life isn't a bed of. If life's not a bed of roses, then it was a bed of neuroses. Neuroses. I gotta double check that one. Novelists have also used the child's attachment to abusive parents as a major theme. Tragically, when deprived, introjectively empty people do seek out new objects, they most often find new objects that bear a strike. So the jargon object just means anything, any person, any place that's emotionally important to you, that you need, that you're connected to. So the first object for the baby is the breast mother. That's the first object. The world, the object, right? Like for adults, you might say, You're connected to a place. So that's kind of like an object for you. So the jargon is like that. They use object because it could be a thing. It could be, usually it's people or a place or an idea or a philosophy or a book, any library, a place, any kind of thing. It's just a general term that's something that's important to you. Where are we here? This tendency to find the very same frustrations in adulthood as one experienced in childhood is called repetition compulsion. So Miss Teachworth was saying most people's first marriages, the dynamic that took place was a copy of what the parents went through. They were sort of the same kind of thing. The human pattern of unconsciously choosing marital partners, friends, or lovers who reject the individual is in the very same manner that he was rejected in childhood. Problems within the original parent-child relationship are repeated. I just had this fleeting thought. There's no way I'd be a broadcaster if I look like what a silly I thought I had at the beginning. I would never qualify to be a broadcaster. Oh my goodness! So with all my anxiety and Jesus, broadcasters tend to be kind of calm. You want embodied broadcasters. Some broadcasters are just like stone, like that. Anyways, okay, let's follow up on that one next time. Where are we here? Problems within the original parent-child relationship are repeated in adulthood because they recreate the same style of attachment that was originally experienced. Yeah. So your attachment style will be recreated. Avoidant, anxious, reactive, disorganized, unformulated, etc. If the parents are opposites, if the child had parents who are opposites and they role play one, then obviously if they're going to choose how that parent chose, when they choose, it'll be opposite to them. If the parents are opposite, your relationship, it'll be opposites. If your parents are kind of alike, okay, then your relationship, it'll be like alike attracts like. We mentioned the one guy was fond of a lady, but in her mind, her parents were alike. But in his mind, the parents are opposites. Now she was opposite to him, so he liked her. But she wouldn't like him because in her mind, the partner's got to be the same like her. So if the parents are like attracts like similar, then it'll be replayed like that. If the parents are opposites, it'll be replayed like that. Where are we here? Recreating the emotional reality of our earliest attachment. A toxic combination of negative, frustrating feelings mixed in with a small amount of love. Okay, so dysfunctional homes. Dysfunctional homes. You're going to recreate a toxic combination of negative, frustrating feelings mixed in with a small amount of love. That's the pigeon thing, right? Oh, I got to leave the camera the way it is. If I pick it up, the thing collapses on me. It's delicately balanced on this little flimsy plastic thing and some other plastic spoons I'm using. I couldn't elevate it for some reason. This is a work in progress. I'll play this back to see if this is or I'll go back to holding the phone. The benefit of holding the phone is I can just turn it if I got to scratch myself, if I got to itch or something. But in this case, I noticed I was walking away or something. Part of my anxiety. All right. Sorry, let's go on here. Thus, the poorly reared child feels that love, quote unquote, is defined by a combination of antithetical feelings rather than by the straightforward feeling of being accepted and treasured by a caring person. So the babies, it was all conditional stuff. It was all sadomasochistic, emotional sadomasochistic stuff, conditional stuff. Not a normal, straight, clean feeling of mother accepted me and treasured me and saw me as a person and said to herself, nature's greatest miracle, what a delight, and had Freude for the child. All that's missing. Conversely, the freely given love from a normal person is not perceived to be love, but rather experienced as something strange, something that bears no relation to the experience of love at all. So if somebody came from, this is a familiar idea, if somebody came from a painful, dysfunctional home, later on they say they want a loving thing, they don't see it, they don't get it, it's boring, they don't get it, they don't see it, it's just too strange. It's like another language, it's someone speaking Swahili to you. You don't get it, it just skips by, right? But it was healthy, but you just don't, it doesn't click. You only click if it's a copy of your frustrating parent. Okay, okay, the rest of these we'll do tomorrow, and then let's go back to today's batch here. If the therapist goes along with the client's attempted pull, let's say, like to repeat the past, no matter what the time period, or the analytic or the therapist's personality, it is really the therapist tricking the client in disguise, in an equally disguised attempt to have the client meet their own ancient unmet childhood needs. Interesting thought. Yeah, I forgot about that. Interesting thought. So if you feel attracted to someone, that person is trying to meet their needs from you. They allow that kind of thing, right? Okay, next one. The combining of unmet childhood needs with hatred fosters intense envy. The individual thus no longer wishes to have the good contained in others, but to actively destroy these qualities. Okay, his definition of envy is immense feelings of long time unmet needs and long time anger around it blended together is called envy. Unmet needs plus anger equals envy, he says. Okay, the baby believes that the breast mother is the envy mother, the envier, envy, the wicked witch one, in Dorothy, right? The baby believes the mother is envious, hatred of the good. Baby has goodness. Mother hates it. Take it, flying monkeys, grab it, destroy it. Envy. Mothers hate the child's goodness. That's what the baby believes when his needs don't get met with the mother. Faustian deal. Identify with the aggressor. Now, to have a mother, they got to hate goodness. If there's goodness, they got to hate it. The way it was hated in them. And then after they hate people with goodness, after they rob people of their goodness, because they hate it, they can't see it, then they hate those very people at the same time. It's sad, right? And envy is a two-person psychology. Jealousy is like a three-person psychology, they say. Envy is way more about your identity. Jealousy means it's not about your identity. It's just you had something, you lost it to something else, you feel badly, okay, you can deal with it. It's not your identity is in question. But with envy, it's your identity that's at issue. That's why envy is very intense like that. One quote said, you don't have enough self-esteem to be jealous. You need some self-esteem to be jealous. People with envy can't feel jealous. Envy is a way more intense, way more deeper thing. Jealous is mild. Envy is 100 times worse. Put it that way. One second. Like I wanted to just do a little scratch, and I thought I gotta cut. So usually I just turn the phone on. Okay, it's a little more awkward this way. Okay, learning experience. Let's see what kind of dream I get from this one. When you do something new, you might get like a dream. Right? Freiberg. Is that right? 1980. She's famous for the book Ghosts in the Nursery, right? Freiberg described the process whereby ghosts in the nursery might prevent a mother from hearing her baby's cries due to her own unmet childhood needs. Like ghosts, angels deal with the particulars of life and etch themselves into memory and personality, leading to an identification with the parent that provides motive and energy for repetition. Okay. So if the child has a loving experience, these angels can be around for you, right? Okay, if there's unmet needs, there's like a ghost like that. It's a similar idea. Okay. Self-psychology, as originally formulated by Heinz Kohut, we don't cover his material. We're not really into that kind of stuff. But anyways, self-psychology. We do have Ullman and Paul. They're fans of Mr. Kohut, Ullman and Paul, where the breast is a self-object for the baby. So self-object is written as one word. Okay, baby, breast, one word. It's like one like that. If that's missing, they say you want something to fill in for that missingness, an addictive trigger mechanism or an ersatz self-object. And all it does is gives you the feeling that you'd feel bliss if you had a mother. Self-psychology, as formulated by Kohut, had at its core a developmental metaphor of unmet childhood needs for empathic attunement. Now, the oneness, the blissful oneness. If the baby and the mother are one, there's a blissful attunement there. I see you, baby. I am here for you, baby. We're attuned. Attunement. Again with the attunement. He has idealized this relationship and has created the thought. Oh boy, I'm having a rough day today. Sorry. He has idealized this relationship and has created the father his mother wanted him to construct and believe in, a defense around the loss of the first father. I think I remember. These are older quotes. That's why. Okay. The kid's mother divorced, right? Then she married some other guy, and compelled the kid to regard the stepfather, and wanted him to believe, and tricked him to believe, compelled him to believe that this is your good father instead. His mother wanted him to construct and believe in. This activity served as a defense mechanism around the loss of the first father. So the mother couldn't mourn the loss. Obviously, the child can't mourn the loss either. If she can't mourn, he can't mourn. So neither of them can mourn the loss. Neither of them have the ability to say, that's a loss, I feel sad about it. They denied him, didn't eat him anyways, sour grapes, who cares, get the next one. So as a defense against the pain around the need to mourn losses, just lie to yourself and deny the pain, push down the pain, and make up some other thing. Maturity means to give up the hope of having, in general, maturity, to give up the hope of having unmet childhood needs fulfilled. That's another one. Okay, another one. So back to the someday thing in the shattered Twilight Zone Saturday. We have the hope for the fulfillment of old unfulfilled needs. It's the death of this unreal hope that's the birth of maturity, the birth of new life. Well, that's the shuttle service. Okay. I think it's better if I hold the camera. I can turn it around a bit. If you identify with the idea of growing up in a crazy family, a family that was not able to meet your needs as a kid, then know it or not, you have an agenda you were looking for your kids to fulfill. The voids left from our unmet childhood needs set impossible, unspoken agendas for us as adults. My history was setting my agenda as a parent. My unmet childhood needs were dictating to me what my daughter needed. Daughter, you need this, right? That's what the mother wants. The little girl of my childhood, who I had long before locked away in the back room of my heart, was silently screaming her longings. So the mother is feeling that the old longing, screaming, projected onto the daughter. Daughter, you want this, right? But the mother wants it. She was projecting them all over my daughter. The part of me that was supposed to be the grown-up couldn't hear anything but the demands of my own unmet childhood needs. I not only wanted, quote, a real dad who was emotionally available in my life, but I also wanted a mother who was aware enough to validate my feelings. Adolescence is a time of development where kids should be wrapped up in their own worlds, trying on different ideas and values. It is a time to learn what fits. They need to experience and compare the world of their friends to the world of their family. They should be exploring the world with the same earnestness as they did as toddlers. What they need from us is a safety net. They need reasonable boundaries and mature encouragement. They don't need to be filling their parents' unmet childhood needs. Might be a typo in here, or my misreading of it a little bit. So toddlers explore, right? Trial and error, rapprochement phase, mother's secure base, emotional refueling, improv. Yes, child, you can learn, you don't lose me. Yes, you can learn, you don't lose me. Yes, I'm here, you're safe, you can go and explore, I'm here. Okay, you can wonder, wanderlust, enjoy your wondering. Now avoid your seek thou forth. When you freak out, I'm here, you're safe. He needs that phase where he feels safe to explore and not get the message that if he explores, he loses his mother, that the mother rebuffs him for it, punishes him for it. What are you doing? You don't need to be yourself. You got to take care of me. Okay, then he throws him like that. Adolescence is another round of that. Adolescence seems to be another round of that. What do you like? Taking elective courses at the end of high school, maybe, or in university, maybe, something like that. But if there's a fear of exploring like that, maybe that's just a continuation that to let you know that between the ages of 18 months and 36 months, that was all missing. That's missing because your needs for the prior phase wasn't met. See, when something's unmet, you can't develop. It's frozen development, stunted development, developmental arrest like that. And this takes place when the mother uses the baby to meet her needs, goes in the nursery. The emotional losses of unmet childhood needs, wants, and desires. Unfortunately, we have not been taught the skills needed to deal with grief. Society as a whole is unable to deal with the grief process. Many times, grief is turned into anger. Many times, our escapism finds us trying to personally meet our unmet childhood needs. We are unaware of this because we are unaware of the needs that exist within us. That's Robert Bly's lifelong campaign. Grief is the doorway to identity and feelings. Grief is the doorway to maturity and growing up. It's all about grieving and mourning. Okay? So mourning is the expression of your grief. Grief is the pain of the loss. When you express it, that's called mourning. It's all about mourning. When you're mourning, you're getting your identity. As you're getting your identity, you can mourn. They kind of go together. I feel, therefore I am. You feel sad, you have your amness there. If you can't feel sadness, that's because you don't have your amness. So the goal is to get your amness, then you can mourn. or mourning helps bring your animus there. So it's all about mourning, right? All of the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away, sings the singer Vonda Shepherd, which is this one here. Maybe just play a part of it. Yeah, this one here. Oh, it's locked out again. Okay, Vonda Shepherd. We have 2 songs on our soundtrack by the singer Vonda Shepherd. Let's see. I'll just play a part of it. It's a long song, yeah. But nice little song, yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
Go ahead and cry now. Just give in to the madness. The only way to feel your joy is first to feel your sadness. Go ahead and sail now. Just give in to the ocean. The only way to tame your fear is to feel her rocking motion. You're a long way from somewhere you call home. Yeah. There's a place in your heart you're not alone. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, is closer than you think. It's just 100 years away. Oh, go ahead and listen. Just give in to the voices. Think you're backed into a corner. You got so many choices. Well, you can't save all the hungry, no, the lonely, or the dying. Sometimes we just want to give up. Fools like us keep trying. You're a long way from some place you feel safe. Peace of mind comes from just one place. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, is closer than you think. It's just 100 years away. Whatever it is that'll make you feel good. Have if you want, do that you could. You can have it all, baby. You're a long way from somewhere you call home. There's a place in your heart you're not alone. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, is closer than you think. It's just 100 years. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, closer than you think. It's just 100 years away. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw a clip. Yeah, I just saw a clip this morning about Karen Carpenter. I didn't know her story about the anorexia issue. Um, yeah, so we have a couple of quotes about that. Yeah, I think she should have. The therapist she chose was a huge mistake, kind of like what Marilyn Monroe did. Same mistake. I think she should have gone to Karen Horney or Masterson or someone, you know, mature and intelligent, not some quack or something. So yeah, Karen Carpenter. Oh, we don't have any of her songs. Oh yeah, oh my God. Yeah, that's it'll be copyrighted anyway, so we can't play it anyways, right? Okay, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to see if there's one quote of help here and email it to yourself or write it down in a notebook and just make a few notes around what it suggests to you or what it reminds you of. And if there's a feeling, then just validate the feeling that you have. I must have a very good reason for feeling um, puzzled by this quote. What's the most puzzling thing about this quote? Just see what comes up, kind of thing. Gentle awakenings, quiet awakenings. Now that's called self-activation. Okay, the memory of your mother saying, "Oh, you're betraying me." Okay, back off. You're talking to a voice, a shadow voice from long ago. Okay, so just recognize that. Build the arc and stay in the present like that. So again, in Inside Out 1, sadness had to come first, then joy came. So joy is there. In the film, remember in the film, I don't know if you saw it, they kind of mocked they tolerated sadness, but didn't fully appreciate her. Drew a little circle. Why don't you just stand here in a circle and Miss Sadness here and pushed her toe in the circle. Just keep it stay there, keep it all to yourself like that. But nothing got better. But when you learn the lesson that she had to drive the console, oh, that's important. I get it now. I get it now. Then sadness, then joy can come back. And in the sequel, Inside Out 2, you can see the celebration that sadness is in the house. Hooray, hooray. So that was like an appreciation because you need sadness and joy at the console. They're kind of together. They're your primary feelings versus the sensations of fear, anger, disgust, shame, and all that other stuff. See, when the baby makes the Faustian deal, and they don't have a sense of self, how do you mourn a loss? How do you acknowledge a loss of anything? Because the other is the mother, but you're the mother. Admitting the loss of the other, that's like admitting the loss of the mother, but you're the mother, that's like admitting the loss of yourself. You can't do it. It's called complicated grief, aggravated grief, the derailment, the flipping of the grief process, pathological nostalgia, melancholia, manic defenses. You'll be very manic in your behavior as a defense, always running away from the pain, manic escapism. Is that here? Many times our escapism finds us trying to meet our unmet childhood needs. Okay, well, escapism, there can be two motives in this moment for escapism. One is it's like in Route 66, she had a loss, hopped on a motorcycle and was barreling down the highway, roll me away, or she was running on the highway. She thought that behind her on another motorcycle was her own grief trying to catch up with her. So she kept going faster and faster, escape from her feelings, trying to catch up, escape. Now, another escapism, this one here, is you unconsciously, you're still, wherever you go, you're still trying to meet your needs. Okay? Richard Kimball is an emotional fugitive, escapism from the justice he's seeking. So you're running away from your mother while you're looking for her. But while you're looking for her, you're running away from her. Escapism. We are unaware of this because we are unaware of the needs that still exist within us. Yeah, so it's compulsion. You don't even know this. Well, for me, the first quote, Outer Limits. So this is our first quote from the TV show Outer Limits. Yeah, still recording. Yeah, okay. In an age when we are led to believe that we are, in an age, I'm having a really rough day today, my goodness. In an age when we are led to believe that we can be anything we want to be, what most eludes us is simply being ourselves. Okay, but this show showed you more than that. That was sort of the closing narration of the episode. Outer Limits is similar to Twilight Zone. But this episode showed another thing. It's a science fiction story where a geeky looking guy, or a guy that women would overlook, like most women wouldn't want to date this guy, kind of. It wasn't terrible looking really, but you can kind of see how women would easily pass him over, kind of thing. It turned out this geeky guy managed to morph his appearance to look like a very handsome guy. So now we got the power of the handsome guy thing. And then now he felt safe with that new power, so to speak. New approval and all. Now he's got chances and all this. And now he can get better jobs. And yeah, because in the before he changed his appearance with the magic trick, he was supposed to get a promotion. He was the most qualified one. But he learned that the boss rejected him because the boss didn't want to have to look at him. He didn't want to look at this guy. That's the only reason. So he chose a handsome looking guy who's unqualified. And it's the stereotype thing. We thought that the geek was intellectual, thoughtful, or something. And the handsome guy, we thought he was a shallow kind of guy. But it turned out to be the opposite. The handsome guy had a lot of good things in his life. Yes, he was shallow, but he wasn't really cruel or anything. But the geek guy, he was really cruel. He turned out to be a really, really psychopathic or something character, very violent, cruel guy, very entitled. So the lesson was the skin deep thing. It's called skin deep. And don't think just because someone's handsome and they're shallow looking or simple minded or something that they're so bad or something. That's one thing. But and the geek says, no, I'm intellectual. I read books and I know all sorts of things. And I'm 10 times more ethical and smarter and wiser than this simple-minded guy. Yes, he's handsome, but so what? I'm a deeper person. Okay, it turned out that when this geek guy with this narcissistic compensation idea that he's so superior, when he got the power of the handsome appearance, he turned out to be a really, really violent, ugly guy underneath, right? Skin, it's called skin deep. And the handsome, simple-minded guy turned out to be not so bad by comparison, right? Another thing was the geek's lifelong pent-up frustration finally got a release, an outlet, when he got the new power like that. Anyways, the geek stole another handsome man's appearance. He didn't know that the handsome man that whose appearance he's stealing, he didn't know that the real guy had a gambling problem or something. So he ended up in that problem that the other guy had. In an age when we are led to believe that we can be anything we want to be, what most eludes us is simply being ourselves. How are we doing here? Wrap it up today. Just wrap it up today. I didn't cover my usual condensed material here. I feel like I missed a lot of material here, a lot of my ums and ahs today. I was just on the verge of returning this phone instead of doing a video today. So I thought, one last chance, I'll reset the thing, see what happens. But I feel like I should have returned it anyway. I got a feeling the audio is still problematic. If by chance you're hearing me clearly, fine, I'll keep it. It worked. But I got a feeling it's the same old thing, right? Okay, and tomorrow, yeah, we'll do the Celani 40. I'll do another run through the Celani quote tomorrow. And then after that, Okay, then after that, there'll be some miscellaneous quotes. And then after that one, we'll get into and teach words. So from 41, from TQ 2941, 2 and 3, 21, 2 and 3. These three, I think they're I think you'll find them interesting. These three. So we'll be doing a 3-video special run on the work of Anne Teachworth from her self-help book entitled "Why We Pick the Mates We Do." To my surprise, it's an analytic book about the imprint and all that. Normally, I would write that book off as a typical fluffy, preachy, like a magazine article kind of thing. But it's actually pretty good. It's a good book. And just before she passed away, she published her sequel. But unfortunately, it's not available. I've written around. No one knows anything about it. She talks about it in her final interview and all this. And she said it was an update of that book. And she added a lot of material to it. Oh my God, please release this book. That's the interview where she says the first child, okay, if it's a daughter, they copy after the father. If it's a son, they copy after the mother. She says it like that. Then the second one will be flipped like that. And she says, whatever the third one is, the fourth will be flipped to the third. She says, because the genetics, like if there's 4 kids, 2 might be like one parent, 2 might be like the other parent. If there's 6 parents, that might be 3, 3. She says there's a general tendency like this with the genetics. So she's edgy in that area about personality. Maybe a little bit has a influence by this. The parents' personalities being opposites, like male-female opposites. Yes, that's why I was eager to find the book about that. In 41. Here's an example. So the woman modeled after the father and didn't like the mother. Here she says, quote, I married at 17 to get away from my mother, she said. As I look back on my 4 marriages, I married my mother each time. So she married men with the same personality like her mother, but she consciously, very strongly didn't want a husband like her mother. But compulsion, every time she did the same thing. It's logical. It must be something psychological. I married my mother each time. These men treated me the same way she did. It's as if she was here all along in spirit inside my husband's. They were all like my awful mother, one and the same. Now, I've spent 10 years in therapy working on my inner child's relationship with my mother. Now, you, Miss Teachworth, talking to the counselor here, now you're telling me that all along it's because I'm like my dad that I've picked mates with my mother's personality? The real problem is that I'm attracted to the same kind of person my dad was attracted to, and so I naturally selected the same type of mate he did. Are you bleeping exclamation, unquote. The unconscious goal is to recreate the inner couple. Okay, all about the trance and all this. So we'll get there. Left untreated, the unconscious inner couple imprint will become the client's only couple imprint for his or her own relationships later in adulthood. And this springboards onto the 3-chair exercise about what we do about it. The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new land, but in seeing with new eyes. So her book does give you a new angle to see things with, a little bit like that. Everyone has a subconscious map of the world. It's what guides you daily, minute to minute, person to person. You may decide what you'd like to have in a mate, but there's an unrecognized, programmed part of you that decides whom you get. If you've ever been attracted to someone who wasn't good for you, or unable to find the person you always wanted to be with, well, you're one of the thousands of people who have already experienced the conflict between what the conscious mind wants and what the unconscious mind demands. See, the iceberg, man, your conscious is like the little tip of ice, but the unconscious demands, oh yeah, it's not about the stars and all this stuff. Not about pheromones and hormones. Opposites are attracted only if their parents are opposites. If the parents were alike, then two people who are alike will be attracted to each other. Oh, here's a funny one. If we know love is blind, why do we believe in love at first sight? You believe in love at first sight, but you know love is blind. Love really begins at second sight. The first sight, it's the transference. You see the person present as the mother in the past. That's the transference. You're not even seeing them. If you withdraw that and look at a second time, see them for who they are, that's the second sight. That's when love begins, at the second sight, not the first sight. The first sight stuff is the transference love. The second sight, now normal love begins. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, okay. So, and teach what my assumption. Okay, okay, I'll read it when we get there. I'll read it when we get there. So these are, so some good quotes are coming up as usual. Maybe we'll close up another song or just wrap it up here. When the Boss is Coming? Okay, why not? A song by a Nigerian pop diva. She's from Nigeria, typical pop diva called Oma. Her name is Oma Wumi, written as one word, O-M-A-W-U, M as in Mary I, Oma Wumi. A song off her album entitled The Lasso of Truth. So these quotes, we may say it's a kind of a lasso of truth, to bring up the truth. I can't quite fully make out the lyrics, but it's a fun, upbeat song. When the Boss is Coming. And I'll wrap it up here. Okay, so thanks very much. When this song ends, I'll just hit the stop button. So let's close up with Oma Wumi's song called When the Boss is Coming off her album, The Lasso of Truth. The Lasso of Truth. So once again, these quotes are helping us to get our soul back into our body, to reclaim ourselves, get back our authentic self. We need a lasso of truth. We need a lantern. We need night vision. We need to learn how to fish. We need to know how to make inferences. We need to resolve oppositional thinking, divide the seeds between discern what's real feelings versus sham feelings. Got to face all of this someday stuff. Got to face your doomsday stuff. I'll talk about that next time. Okay, When the Boss is Coming. Thanks very much.
The boss is coming to kill the actor. The actor said go run away. When the boss is coming to kill the actor, the actor said go run away. Let's go! Sometimes this life will blow you for left eye. You find yourself on the ground. prepare be stronger, you know you're coming back around. Sometimes it's life, you know, but bad people are always very frustrating. You got to understand that life is a process, waiting start to solid and then it has to know that time for fail. So when the bird is coming to kill the actor, the actor's when the bird is coming to kill the actor, the actor's he don't run far away. He don't run far He who fights and away comes back to fight another day.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, thanks very much for the love of narrative medicine. I'll see you in the next video. 10,000 quotes to help anyone move towards no longer feeling like a constant tourist to themselves. For the love of narrative medicine, see you next time.